Chapter 1026. Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian went to the cultivation room behind the imperial study. Wang Mingchen asked, "Father, now that the great demon king of the heaven/mountain range has made a move, should we make a move?" "Don't worry. If we take care of the heaven/mountain range's demons now, no one will be able to restrain the demons in the frozen icy plains. If there's no opponent, they'll find another. Only humans can be a match for the demons in the frozen icy plains. At that time, most of the Yen Kingdom's energy will be restrained by the demons, and they won't be able to expand. It's best if we can lure the great demon king of the frozen icy plains to make a move. I'll take the opportunity to capture them all. Then we'll flatten the heaven/mountain range and support some half-demons in the frozen icy plains to suppress the demons." Wang Mingchen nodded. "Father, you're so thoughtful. How should we set up defenses now? The demons don't dare to make a move in Qingli County. But they've already started to attack Serene South County, and Linhai County might become their target. With the heaven/mountain range in between, it won't be easy for us to reinforce Linhai County. Your great-grandfather is guarding there. The black ice tortoise's cultivation has reached superior grade tier 5. It won't be a problem to deal with the great demon king in Linhai County. Xian Jia is also there. Xian Jia's sword intent foundation isn't the Beiyuan sword intent, but after many years of training, his strength is comparable to a great demon king. With them there, Linhai County doesn't need any reinforcements. If the demons really invade, Jia Qi's avatar can also go there. I know a little about the abilities of the great demon kings in the heaven/mountain range. They're not Jia Qi's match. I've subdued another expert in the Sea of 7 Stars. If he can't hold on, I'll send him over." Wang Daoyuan was naturally referring to Spirited Flame. This guy was already at tier 6 and was much stronger than those great demon kings. Although he was inexperienced, his strength was there. Beating a great demon king wasn't a problem at all. Jia Qi instructed Wang Mingchen on a few more matters before concealing himself and leaving Clear Glass City. The demons in the heaven/mountain range focused their attacks on the Yen Kingdom's hinterland. They didn't need to care about other places. The Grey Rocks patrol was limited to Serene South County and Qingli County. Jia Qi didn't run too far, he just quietly came to the vicinity of the oasis. Over the years, the Wang family had been constantly migrating ordinary clansmen to this place. There were already close to 1 million clansmen by the 100 Rivers Lake, second only to the Wang family's traditional territory east of Qingli River and north of Qingxi. If the demons were to cause trouble here, there would definitely be a lot of casualties. More than 1,000 miles away from the coast of Linhai Prefecture, there was a city with a radius of 30 miles. This was Linhai City, and the prefecture overseer manor was also in the city. In the past, as the main city of Linhai Prefecture, Linhai City was bustling with life. Now, everyone knew that the demon clan wanted to attack the Yen Kingdom. Most of the rogue cultivators in Linhai State had already fled to the west of heaven/mountain range. A small number of rogue cultivators already had some businesses in Linhai Prefecture and were unwilling to give them up. On top of that, the Wang clan was powerful enough. As long as they stayed in the city, they wouldn't have to worry about losing their lives. After all, they had been able to force the demon race to seek peace decades ago. Now, they would not be completely defeated by the demon race. There weren't many people outside Linhai City, and the city had already been cleared. Apart from the city guards, no one was allowed to go on the streets. The defensive formation had also been activated. There was a rank 5 spirit vein under Linhai City, which was a remnant vein of heaven/mountain range. Therefore, the defensive formation of Linhai City was also rank 5. With this defensive formation, even a Grand Demon King wouldn't be able to do anything to Linhai City in a short period of time. Although the atmosphere in Linhai City was tense, nothing major happened. However, in the past month, there were traces of rank 4 demonic beasts in the river near Linhai City. These fellows were sneaky and only observed Linhai City from afar. Although they didn't attack the city directly, Linhai City was still prepared for a big battle. When the White Feather Chicken attacked Serene South City, there were more demonic beasts near Linhai City. Many demonic beasts even dared to approach the city walls to observe, as though a storm was about to come. Wang Xian was even more spirited. He ordered the family disciples to guard the various formation cores while he personally took charge of the core formation core. Half of the city guards stayed on the city walls while the rest patrolled the streets to prevent rogue cultivators from causing trouble. More and more demonic beasts gathered outside the city. Soon, an upper-grade rank 5 black flood dragon jumped out of Wanchuan River. The flood dragon opened its mouth and spat out water arrows. These water arrows didn't seem to have any power and the spirit energy fluctuations were also very weak. However, when they landed on Linhai City's defensive formation, there was a series of rumbling sounds. The defensive light barrier was also constantly shaking. An upper-grade rank 5 defensive formation was always lacking when facing an upper-grade rank 5 demonic beast. However, it was not an easy task to break through the formation. At this moment, rank 4 demonic beasts were constantly appearing near Wanchuan River and the seaside. They approached Linhai City and attacked the defensive formation. Of course, Linhai City's defensive formation wasn't to be trifled with. It was difficult to break it in a short period of time. However, it wasn't a solution to continue like this. Who knew how many demonic beasts would participate in this matter? Wang Daoyuan's clone, the Mystic Ice Tortoise, was currently hiding at the bottom of the Wanchuan River estuary. Using his divine sense to sense the demonic beasts outside, Wang Daoyuan was in a good mood. I originally only wanted to scam the Heaven/Mountain Range and the extreme frost ice plains. I didn't expect the East Sea demonic beasts to join in the fun. Just nice, I'll scoop up these demonic beasts. When I break through to the Mahayana realm, I'll sweep the West Sea. The entire Beiyuan Xiaofan will be impregnable. He then controlled the Mystic Ice Tortoise to use sneak attacks. A cold wind started to blow around Linhai City and it was getting stronger and stronger. The surrounding rivers started to freeze and some rank 4 demonic beasts even started to tremble. However, the cultivators in Linhai City didn't feel any discomfort at all. A moment later, dark clouds covered the sky and hailstones fell from the clouds. Rather than hailstones, it was more like icicles and spikes. Like before, Linhai City wasn't affected at all. The Black Flood Dragon immediately felt that something was wrong. However, the Mystic Ice Tortoise was hiding at the bottom of the sea and he really couldn't find it. He raised his head and spat out a giant water ball in an attempt to break the Mystic Ice Tortoise's spell. In the end, the water ball turned into an ice ball and smashed down once more. The Black Flood Dragon's ability was to control water but he couldn't control ice. When their cultivations were about the same, the ice element was even more effective against the water element than the earth element. Moreover, the Mystic Ice Tortoise wasn't an ordinary rank 5 half-divine beast. It was controlled by Wang Daoyuan, a soul formation cultivator. Although he couldn't directly use the Mystic Ice Tortoise's body to unleash the power of a soul formation cultivator. However, his control over the laws and spiritual power wasn't something a rank 5 demonic beast could compare to. Otherwise, the spell cast by the Mystic Ice Tortoise wouldn't be so powerful. The Black Flood Dragon hurriedly dodged the ice ball and used his water spiritual power to protect himself. The large-scale spell cast by the Mystic Ice Tortoise had limited destructive power against a single powerful individual. He could withstand the icicles falling from the sky, but those rank 4 demonic beasts couldn't. A rank 5 half-divine beast's sneeze could shake a rank 4 demonic beast half to death, let alone casting a spell. Rank 4 demonic beasts would be seriously injured if they were hit by an icicle. Soon, dozens of demonic beasts outside the city were killed. The Black Flood Dragon shouted, "Retreat to the sea." The rank 4 demonic beasts felt as if they had been pardoned. They used all their skills to escape from Waterfront City. This kind of large-scale spell consumed a lot of spiritual power, and the mystic ice tortoise couldn't maintain it for long. After the demonic beasts retreated, he immediately stopped the spell and quietly hid at the bottom of the river. Turtle-type demonic beasts were all experts in hiding their auras. The Black Flood Dragon searched the coastal waters for a long time but didn't find any clues. He could only leave resentfully. Even if he found the mystic ice tortoise, it wasn't a big deal. It was just exposing the existence of the rank 5 sword puppet mystic armor. At that time, he wouldn't be able to leave. The Black Flood Dragon retreated with many demonic beasts. Waterfront City didn't suffer any substantial losses. A portion of the city guards left the city and collected the corpses of the dozens of demonic beasts outside the city. A rank 4 demonic beast's corpse could be sold for millions of low-grade spirit stones. Dozens of demonic beasts were also a considerable amount of wealth. Originally, the human race and the East Sea demonic beasts didn't have much conflict. He really didn't know why these idiots wanted to get involved. After suffering a loss in Waterfront City, the next few days were peaceful. In the entire Yen country, no demonic beasts attacked again. However, everyone knew that under the peaceful situation, there were undercurrents surging. In order to act more realistic, Wang Mingchen asked for help from the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the Tai Sword Sect, and the Archaic Mysteries Sect. As for the Wind Snow God Palace, he was afraid that he would still need help. After all, they were at the edge of the Arctic ice plains. Once the demonic beasts of the Arctic ice plains made a move, the Wind Snow God Palace wouldn't have a good time. When the Yen country started to ask for help, the demonic beasts didn't stay idle either. In the Hidden Dragon Mountain area at the northernmost end of the Sky/Mountain Range, the battle between the two demonic beasts had already stopped. However, the Hidden Dragon Mountain didn't calm down. There were demonic beasts constantly coming and going. At first, only rank 4 demonic beasts came from the Sky/Mountain Range to the Arctic ice plains. Later, many rank 5 demonic beasts came and went. After a few days, a fire phoenix flew out of the Sky/Mountain Range and came to a cave at the northernmost end of the Hidden Dragon Mountain. At the eastern edge of the Mirage Fog Sea, a black flood dragon rose into the sky and flew to a cave at the northernmost end of the Hidden Dragon Mountain. At this time, the 4 demonic beast kings were gathered in the cave of the Hidden Dragon Mountain. The fire phoenix looked at the ice flood dragon and snow bear. The black tortoise bloodline has an extremely high status among the demonic beasts of the Arctic ice plains. If he's not here, will your words count? The ice flood dragon smiled and said, "Of course. Black Ice's descendants have withered, and he's unwilling to send his descendants to participate in the battle. As long as Snow Bear and I agree, we can mobilize the subordinate demonic beasts of the Black Tortoise bloodline. I had expected the Flame Phoenix Greater Fiend Monarch to take action. However, I don't understand. The Black Flood Dragon bloodline has been living in the depths of the East Sea for a long time. No matter how arrogant the humans are, they can't occupy the entire East Sea. Why are you involved in this matter?" The Black Flood Dragon snorted. Although the East Sea is vast and boundless, its spiritual power is far inferior to that of the Sky/Mountain Range. Once the demonic beasts of the Sky/Mountain Range are destroyed by the humans, the East Sea demonic beasts will have to flee. Without rank 5 spirit chi, I'm afraid I can't even maintain my current cultivation level. My descendants won't be able to break through to rank 5 either. We are all over 10,000 years old and have been struggling at death's door for so many years. We don't have much time left. We can only hope to nurture some outstanding descendants. For the future of our descendants, I have to fight. The Ice Flood Dragon nodded. Brother Black Flood Dragon's choice is very correct. If the East Sea demonic beasts retreat, they won't have another chance in the future. However, we don't have to risk our lives. The extreme zero ice plains is vast and boundless. Even places far away from the sky/mountain range have many high-grade spirit veins. No matter how powerful Wang Daoyuan is, can he let the humans occupy the extreme zero ice plains? The Fire Phoenix sneered. The humans can't live in the depths of the ice plains, but a soul formation cultivator can kill all the rank 5 demonic beasts in the ice plains. He can support some half-demonic beasts who like to live in the ice plains and gradually occupy the extreme zero ice plains. Although the half-demonic beasts have the strengths of both the humans and demonic beasts, they also have the weaknesses of both races. The upper limit of their cultivation level is too low, so they won't cause much trouble. In the long run, the extreme zero ice plains will be the half-demonic beasts' territory. Chapter 1027. The ice dragon fell into deep thought. He only knew that the frozen ice field was extremely vast. 10,000 years ago, he had gone deep into the frozen ice field many times, but he couldn't find the border. Unlike humans, demons didn't like to record everything. Therefore, he didn't have any records left by his ancestors. He didn't know how big the frozen ice field was. The demons of the frozen ice field had already adapted to the environment. If Wang Daoyuan dared to go deep into the frozen ice field, the demon kings might be able to defeat him. As long as they could defeat Wang Daoyuan, the demons of the frozen ice field would be able to preserve their vitality. No matter how powerful a peak-stage Yuanying cultivator was, he would turn into a pile of dirt in 2,000 years at most. After he died, it was not impossible for the demon race to make a comeback. But he had never considered what would happen if Wang Daoyuan really reached the soul formation stage. Although there was only a thin line between the early stage of the soul formation stage and the peak stage of Yuanying, the difference in strength between the two was like heaven and earth. Unless it was a peerless genius, peak stage Yuanying cultivators were like ants in the hands of soul formation cultivators. Wang Daoyuan could kill the Silver Rock Demon King when he was at the mid-stage of Yuanying. When he reached the peak stage of Yuanying, no one dared to fight him. If he really reached the soul formation stage, he wouldn't be able to defeat him with the help of the frozen ice field. When that time came, there would really be no way out for him. Seeing that he was silent, the ice dragon continued to persuade him. Ice dragon, this is our last chance. You know what kind of talent Wang Daoyuan has. Greater Demon Monarch Flamephoenix's subordinates had investigated Wang Daoyuan very thoroughly. He is only 400 years old now. At first, the Wang family was only a foundation establishment family. In just 400 years, the Wang family became the most powerful force in Beiyuan. He also became the most powerful overlord in Beiyuan. Do you think he can't reach the soul formation stage with such talent? When he comes back, we will have to face a soul formation cultivator. Wang Daoyuan is no saint. If we demons don't make a move, he won't let us off either. The only way to survive now was to wipe out most of the humans in Beiyuan before he returned. No matter how powerful Wang Daoyuan was, it was impossible for him to kill all the demons without the support of the human race. No matter how powerful he was, there would come a time when he would pass away in meditation. As long as he dies, our demon race will be able to make a comeback. Greater Demon Monarch Flame Phoenix sighed. We can only blame ourselves for only knowing how to fight among ourselves back then. We felt that humans were too weak and not worth risking our lives for. Decades had passed, and the human race had become a huge threat. If they had made up their minds to wipe out the humankind back then, they wouldn't be in such a predicament today. One mistake has already allowed the human race to rise again. If we make another mistake, our demon race will no longer have a chance. Regardless of whether your Ice Plains demon race makes a move or not, our Heaven/Mountain Range demon race will fight to the death. The Black Dragon added, the same goes for the East Sea Monster tribe. The Snow Bear also persuaded the Ice Flood Dragon, I think Flame Phoenix and Black Dragon are right. When Wang Daoyuan breaks through to the Soul Formation realm and returns, we will have no chance. Although I don't have the bloodline of a divine beast, I am not willing to submit to the human race. You are a semi-divine beast. Are you willing to be a dog for the human race? Under the persuasion of the 3 demon monarchs, the Ice Flood Dragon slammed the table. The Ice Plains demon race can participate in this matter, but after we wipe out the human race, we have to take more benefits. Flame Phoenix quickly replied, okay, after we wipe out the human race, the territory north of the Wanchuan River will all belong to the Ice Plains demon race. South of the Wanchuan River, part of it will be given to the Ice Plains demon race. When the time comes, as long as the Ice Plains demon race likes the territory, you can have the first pick. The Black Dragon also expressed that he had no objections. The Ice Flood Dragon smiled and said, since the 2 of you are so generous, the Ice Plains demon race will also fight for the future of the demon race. The Snow Bear was overjoyed. Both of you have tested the strength of the Yen Kingdom. What do you think we should do next? Flame Phoenix said, in the sky/mountain range, Silver Rock's grandson, Inu, has also become a demon monarch. He ambushed Wang Daoyuan's 2 children in Serene South City, but he was easily defeated by Jia Qi. After that, he wanted to vent his anger on Serene South City, but his tail was cut off by the sword puppet left behind by Wang Daoyuan. As soon as she said that, the other 3 demon monarchs couldn't help but laugh. The Snow Bear was even more straightforward. Although Silver Rock died early, his strength is undeniable. What's wrong with his grandson? It's fine if he's weak, but he also looks like a white-feathered rooster. Now, he can't even keep his tail. He will be a bald rooster in the future. As a demon monarch, he has embarrassed himself to this extent. Flame Phoenix shook her head. Although Inu's strength is far inferior to his grandfather, he is not inferior to Silver Rock in terms of speed. He is even faster. I have seen Inu's wound. I am not confident that I can take the same attack. He is fast and powerful. This sword puppet's strength is probably above ours. The Black Flood Dragon Demon Monarch continued, my son Xian Lin led a group of rank 4 demons to attack Waterfront City, but they were also defeated. They didn't even see their opponent before they were smashed back by a hail. According to him, the hail had traces of the Black Tortoise bloodline. The Ice Flood Dragon sighed. It should be Xian Bing's youngest son, Xian Yan. Back then, he was captured by Wang Daoyuan. I don't know what method was used to make him follow Wang Daoyuan wholeheartedly. The Black Tortoise bloodline is above my dragon race in terms of controlling water, but in terms of controlling ice, they might not be stronger than me. Xian Yan's cultivation shouldn't be at the demon monarch level, so I can easily suppress him. Waterfront City is near the river and the sea. Xian Bing, Snow Bear, and the Black Flood Dragon can all unleash great strength. Although Flame Phoenix Daoyu isn't good at fighting near the water, he can intercept the Yen Kingdom's reinforcements. That Jia Qi isn't easy to deal with either. If he goes to Waterfront City and relies on the rank 5 defensive formation, we won't be able to take him down. If he comes to reinforce Waterfront City, the Flame Phoenix Demon Monarch will hold him back and then we will attack together to kill him. Attacking Waterfront City is secondary. The main thing is to kill more Yuanian cultivators. The Flame Phoenix nodded. The Ice Flood Dragon Demon Monarch's idea is good. Let's do it this way. Keep an eye on Waterfront City. If the Yen Kingdom dares to send reinforcements, we will deal with them in the Wanchuan River Valley. The Snow Bear and Black Flood Dragon didn't have any objections and nodded in agreement. The Ice Flood Dragon smiled. In that case, let's go back and gather people. We will attack Waterfront City in a month. Yan Kingdom's Qingli City. After Wang Mingchen requested for reinforcements, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, Tai Sword Sect, and Archaic Mysteries Sect all sent people over. At this moment, 6 Yuanying cultivators were gathered in the imperial study of Qingli City. Perfected Lei Yan had been staying at the Jade Spring Mountain. Now, he also came to the imperial study for a discussion. When Wang Shui heard that the Yan Kingdom was attacked by demonic beasts, he naturally ran back. Along with him was the Archaic Mysteries Sect's perfected Xiantian. The Divine Weapon Pavilion Sect Master, perfected Yunhe, and the current Sect Master of the Tai Sword Sect, perfected Swordless, also rushed over to help. Although they didn't ask for help from the Zhou nation previously, they naturally wouldn't stand by and do nothing now that the relationship between the two countries had reached this stage. The Grand Emperor of the Zhou nation, perfected Fengyi, personally came with the ancestral phoenix flag. After everyone arrived, Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for coming to help, seniors." Perfected Yunhe smiled and said, "There's no need for that. Our 5 families are of the same breath. Back when our spiritual energy had just recovered to stage 5, we relied on your father to resist the demons and buy time for us to cultivate. Now that he's not around, we naturally have to help him guard his home. Brother Xuantian's arrival is within my expectations. With Patriarch Yin Yang protecting him, the Grand Demon Monarch can't hurt him. Disciple Nephew Swordless, why are you here? We are going to deal with the Grand Demon Monarch. Even if you have the Tai Divine Sword, your strength is far inferior to the Grand Demon Monarch's." Perfected Swordless waved his hand and a long sword appeared in his hand. "I didn't want to use a sword, but I have no choice now." At that moment, a clanging sound came from the sword. An old man with white hair and beard appeared from the sword. "Junior, you're really outrageous. Do you think I'll embarrass you by following you?" Perfected Xiantian gasped. "Demon-slaying sword ancestor, you're awake?" The white-haired elder glanced at him. "The descendant of Patriarch Yin Yang has good talent. I've met quite a few old friends this time. Brother Yin Yang, Brother Ling Long, and Brother Fiend Refinement are all here. No, Brother Myriad Spirit is here too. Stop hiding. We haven't seen each other in tens of thousands of years. Come out and have a chat." The demon-slaying sword ancestor's main body was the demon-slaying cauldron. It was an heirloom Dharma artifact of the Divine Weapon Pavilion Sect Master. The other artifact spirits came out as well. Patriarch Myriad Spirit looked at the demon-slaying sword ancestor. "How strange. Ever since the demon-slaying Divine Lord passed away, I haven't seen you come out." The demon-slaying sword ancestor sighed. "There's nothing I can do. I'm a sword spirit. If the junior sword cultivation isn't up to par, they can't even touch my body. After tens of thousands of years, I've finally met a sword cultivation genius." Patriarch Yin Yang was curious. "Hasn't the Valley of Beasts been closed for tens of thousands of years? Why is Brother Myriad Spirit here, and you've even acknowledged Emperor Yen as your master?" Patriarch Myriad Spirit sighed. "The Valley of Beasts has withered. The only remaining disciples are the Zhou clan. Mingchen's talent is excellent, and he's already inherited the position of Valley of Beasts Sect Master. Naturally, I'll acknowledge him as my master." Patriarch Yin Yang glanced at Wang Mingchen. "Not bad indeed. This kid isn't even 200 years old, and he's already reached peak Jindan. With you protecting him, Yuanying shouldn't be a problem. After a few more years, he'll be able to form his nascent soul. A 200-year-old Yuanying is extremely rare even before the formation of decimating heaven abyss." The weapon spirits chatted for a long time, and the others didn't dare to disturb this group of old ancestors. After a long time, Taoist Master Yunhe said, "Mingchen, we're all here to help you. Regardless of seniority, just tell us how to deal with the demons." Wang Mingchen cupped his hands to everyone. Martial granduncles, I've invited you all here to deceive others. We deliberately released the news of Emperor Father and Emperor Mother's departure. Daoist Master Feng Yi was stunned. Child, how dare you take this risk? These old demons are all from 10,000 years ago, and they're not weak. Even if we can win, Yan Kingdom will suffer heavy losses. This is Emperor Father's intention. He's already broken through to Soul Formation and is now hiding in the Mirage Fog Sea. He wants to use this opportunity to lure out all the great demon kings and deal with them all at once. So that when he goes out in the future, he won't have to worry about a fire in his backyard. Hearing this, everyone was a little shocked. Beiyuan Xiaofan had only appeared for a few decades, and there were already soul formation cultivators. Daoist Master Xuantian's face was full of joy. With soul formation cultivators, Beiyuan doesn't have to worry about the demons causing trouble anymore. The strength of a soul formation cultivator and a Yuanian cultivator are worlds apart. Any means left behind can make the demons not dare to invade. Mingchen, just tell us what to do. What Emperor Father means is to lure out all the rank 5 demons, and then he will personally take care of them all. At the very least, all the great demon kings must be killed. Previously, the demons have tentatively attacked Shanbei's Serene South City and Linhai City in Linhai State. Emperor Father left behind backup plans in these two places. Previously, when the demons tried to probe, they suffered quite a lot. The next targets of the demons are likely to be these two places. Martial granduncles, rest in Qingli City first. When the demons take action, we'll go over to support them. I just hope that you can restrain your strength and not scare the demons away. Only when the demons see hope of success will they invest more strength and strive to kill all the rank 5 demons in Beiyuan. Chapter 1028. Venerable Windwing sighed, the younger generation will surpass us in time. Since tens of thousands of years ago, the human race has been suppressed by the demon race. For more than 1,000 years, we can only defend against the demon race. Daoyuan is only 400 years old and already has the ability to deal with the demon race. Venerable Lei Yen said, if everyone has no objections, we'll follow Mingchen's plan and wait here. Yen country's delicacies aren't ordinary, you have to try them. The Yuanian cultivators who came to help stayed in Qingli City. At this time, Qingli City was also forbidden from entering and leaving and had set up a formation to block messages. Other than the imperial study, messages couldn't be sent out from other places. There were also red-feathered crows and gray rocks patrolling nearby, so the demon race couldn't find out what was going on here and weren't afraid of being leaked. 20 days later, traces of demon beasts appeared in Linhai City again. At first, there were only rank 4 demon beasts poking their heads around, but after a few days, the black flood dragon appeared again. The city defense preparations were already done. There were many city guards on the city walls and many high-grade rank 4 crossbows were placed on the city walls. These things weren't a threat to rank 5 demon beasts, but with so many crossbows, it wouldn't take much effort to kill a rank 4 demon beast. When Wang Jian saw the rank 5 demon beast appear, he immediately sent a message to Qingli City. After receiving the message, Wang Mingchen immediately gathered all the Yuanian cultivators. When everyone was present, Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and said, "Martial granduncles, the demon race has attacked Linhai City. Now, there's only a rank 5 black flood dragon and a group of rank 4 demon beasts from the East Sea. These guys can't cause too much pressure to Linhai City's defense, they should just be a means to lure out the black ice tortoise and sword puppet. The demon race is likely to attack there, we should prepare to go to Linhai City to help." Previously, there were rank 4 demon beasts harassing Yunnan City, so we can't rule out the possibility of the demon race attacking Yunnan City. Venerable Lei Yen asked, how should we distribute the manpower? Wang Mingchen answered, there's me and myriad spirit ancestor in Qingli City, we can block a few demon kings. Yunnan County doesn't have a rank 5 formation protection, so it's easy to break through. It would be difficult to defend for too long with just one sword puppet. Without the support of a grade 5 formation, this place might be even more dangerous than Waterfront City. Therefore, there must be 2 experts who can defeat the Grand Demon King and stay in the north of Qingli County to support Yunnan City at any time. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda had many Grand Cultivators and was built by Earth Immortals and Grand Cultivators together. In addition, it was specially used to deal with demons. Although he was only a low-grade 5th-tier demon, a Great Demon King was not enough for him to play with. If Wang Mingchen had an early-stage Yuanian cultivation and the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda, he would have no problem dealing with 4 or 5 demon monarchs at the same time. Unfortunately, he was only at the peak of the Gold Core realm and could not exert the power of the All-Spirits Pagoda. The greater demon monarch wanted to escape, but he didn't have the ability to make him stay. Thunderflame Sage nodded, "Since it's more dangerous here, I'll stay. My cultivation level is already close to the late Yuaniing stage. With the power of the Exquisite Pagoda, I can definitely defeat a Grand Archfiend. I've been staying at Jade Spring Peak all these years, so I can be considered to be familiar with the place." Once he encountered a greater demon monarch, it would be easier to deal with them. Dao Yuan's Grey Rock is also nearby. Together with the sword puppets in Yunnan City, it won't be a problem to deal with the demons. If 2 or 3 greater demon monarchs come, we can also deal with them. If they target Yunnan City, Dao Yuan can just attack directly. If they target Waterfront City, there won't be too many demon monarchs coming, so I don't need to be afraid of them. At this moment, Jiaqi walked in from outside. The battle has already started in Waterfront State. I have Lei Peng's flying boat left behind by the retired emperor. Let's hurry over. With that, he released Lei Peng's flying boat. Daoist Xiantian, Daoist Yunhe, Daoist Swordless, and Daoist Windwing all boarded the flying boat. Jia Qi personally controlled it. After Lei Peng's flying boat rose into the sky, it sped towards the southeast like lightning. Although the flying boat was completely sealed, these people were all Yuanian cultivators and could use their consciousness to observe the surrounding scenery. Even a powerful descendant like Daoist Master Xian Tian was extremely shocked by the speed of Lei Peng's flying boat. Martial nephew Dao Yuan is really capable. Although this flying boat looks strange, its speed is really frightening. I'm afraid it can fly around 40,000 miles in 2 hours. In Beiyuan Xiaoxian continent, it can reach anywhere in 3 days. Wang Daoyuan, who was in the Zijin River branch, was also preparing for the final battle. He called Zhouwan out of the space in the Spirit Pearl and gave her the Xian Cauldron. Lord Shadow Master, the demon race might attack Serene South City or Waterfront City. This place is less than 10,000 miles away from Yunnan City, but it's a bit far from Waterfront City. If we continue to stay here, we won't be able to take care of Waterfront City. Wait here. If something happens in Yunnan City, just wait here. As long as you fly to the westernmost end of the valley and directly cross the heaven/mountain range from the 9 heavens astral wind layer, Yunnan City will be close by. I'll leave the Xian Cauldron to you. Even if the demons attack Yunnan City, you can block a few Grand Demon Kings. I'll rush to the edge of the Mirage Fog Sea now. If the Grand Demon Kings attack Waterfront City, I'll take care of them all. Zhouwan nodded. Leave Yunnan City to me. You can go to Waterfront City without worry. Wang Daoyuan didn't say anything else and drove Lei Peng's flying boat to Waterfront City. At this moment, there were more and more demon beasts in Waterfront City. Once these demon beasts came out, they directly attacked the defensive formation of Waterfront City. It seemed like they were forcing the Black Ice Tortoise to attack. Wang Daoyuan controlled the Black Ice Tortoise and sent a message to his 5th granduncle, asking him to release the sword puppet mystic armor. Soon, a silver light flew out of the city and went straight for the Black Flood Dragon after passing through the defensive formation. The Black Flood Dragon didn't expect that there would be sword puppets in Waterfront City. In such a short time, it was hard for him to cast a strong enough defensive technique. He could only use his movement technique to dodge this fatal strike. Xian Jia was snatched from the Zhenhai sect. The Zhenhai sect was a branch of the Imperial Regency. The Imperial Regency's puppet technique was far from the Shunlian schools, so Xian Jia was much weaker than Xian Ji. Along with the fact that Xian Jia was controlled by Wang Jian, the strength it could use was even weaker. If Xian Ji sneak attacked the Black Flood Dragon, he would definitely be killed in one strike. Unfortunately, Xian Jia wasn't strong enough and dodged the sword. Only the remnant force of the sword landed on the Black Flood Dragon's tail, leaving a small wound. If the sneak attack couldn't kill him, it would be hard to kill him. Wang Jian knew his limits. He knew that his strength and control of laws weren't enough. If he continued to control the armor to attack, he wouldn't be able to do much and would only waste his spiritual energy. He ordered Xian Jia to stay around Waterfront City to threaten the Black Flood Dragon. Wang Daoyuan had already told him that the reinforcements would only take a little more than 2 hours to arrive. He didn't want to kill the enemy and only wanted to delay time. Waterfront City could wait, but the monster race didn't dare to. 2 average-looking flood dragons led a group of rank 4 demonic beasts to attack the defensive formation. These 2 flood dragons were also pitch black, but they had a horn on their head. They were most probably the result of the Black Flood Dragon going around. Their cultivation was much lower too, they were both grade 5 lower grades. The city guards on the city walls were prepared and controlled the giant crossbows to attack the beasts. The light barrier of the defensive formation blocked the outside but not the inside. The arrows could be shot out, but the attacks from the outside would be blocked by the light barrier. Under the interference of the arrows, the grade 4 beasts didn't dare to go all out. The Black Flood Dragon was fully focused on Xian Jia and didn't dare to act rashly. The 2 grade 5 flood dragons didn't care about the arrows and went all out to attack Waterfront City. 2 water dragons flew out from the defensive light barrier and tangled with the 2 flood dragons. Wang Jian was only at Golden Core late stage. Relying on the defensive formation to fight against 2 grade 5 flood dragons, he was under a lot of pressure. However, most of the pressure was taken by the formation core. It wasn't a problem for him to last for 2 hours. The opponents were restrained and the battle entered a stalemate. The monster race didn't increase their strength. 2 hours passed quickly and Lei Peng's flying boat entered the 10,000 River Valley. As long as they passed through the 10,000 River Valley, they would reach Waterfront City. Although the 10,000 River Valley was narrow, late-stage Yuanian cultivators didn't have to worry about anything. 15 minutes later, the 10,000 River Valley was right in front of them. At this moment, a huge fireball fell from the sky and headed straight for the flying boat. A black jade cauldron flew out of the boat and swallowed the fireball. Jia Qi didn't want to bother with this opponent and wanted to use the flying boat's speed to shake it off. However, 5 monster kings suddenly appeared in front and blocked the flying boat's path. The 5 monster kings were Fire Phoenix, Ice Flood Dragon, and Bald-Tail White Feather Chicken. Wang Daoyuan had interacted with them before, but not the Snow Bear and Black Flood Dragon. Wang Daoyuan was currently hiding at the southern edge of the Mirage Fog Sea. He was still 20 to 30,000 miles away from Waterfront City. Almost all the monster kings of the monster race had come out, but there should be some hidden level 5 monsters that hadn't shown themselves yet. These 5 monster kings didn't have much of an advantage against Jia Qi and the other Yuanian cultivators. He wasn't in a hurry to help them now. Instead, he could delay these monster kings for a while and force them to summon more monsters. He might be able to force out the hidden monster kings or at least some monsters that had just broken through to level 5. The trap was already set. Since he had this opportunity, he would try to kill as many monsters as possible. Wang Daoyuan didn't take Lei Peng's flying boat. Instead, he restrained his aura and flew slowly to Waterfront City. At the same time, he divided his attention and controlled Jia Qi to deal with the monsters. With 5 monster kings blocking the way, Daoist Xiantian and the others left the flying boat. Jia Qi put away the flying boat and said with a smile, "The monsters really think highly of themselves. With just the 5 of you, it seems like you can't take us down. Bald tail white feather chicken, the feathers on your tail haven't grown out yet?" Silver Feather was furious. He flapped his wings and was about to attack. Fire Phoenix stopped him immediately. "Dao, you are very confident. You have 4 Dharma artifacts with weapon spirits. Naturally, we don't have the confidence to win quickly. However, your cultivation is too low. Forcefully activating high-grade Dharma artifacts will consume a lot of your spiritual energy. We have plenty of time to waste with you. When your spiritual energy is exhausted, you will all die here. Let's see how the humans can stop us then." Before he finished speaking, the long sword in Daoist swordless hand shone brightly. An old man with a white beard appeared out of thin air. "I haven't woken up for tens of thousands of years. Are the mixed-haired birds now so arrogant? Even those pure-blooded phoenixes didn't dare to be arrogant in front of humans. Can't we stop you? Let's see which monster can stop me, the Demon Slayer Sword Ancestor." Ice Flood Dragon chuckled. "In terms of age, you are indeed old seniors. When you were at your peak, us juniors didn't even have the qualifications to fight with you. But times have changed. You are only low-grade level 5 Dharma artifacts now. Even if your power is extraordinary, you can at most contend with us. It won't be easy to defeat us. We don't have the confidence to win quickly, so why be in a hurry to make a move? There's still a good show in Waterfront City. It won't be too late to make a move after watching the show." Chapter 1029. Wang Daoyuan immediately sensed the Xian ice turtle, which was hiding near the mouth of the river. Using his spiritual sense, he could see Waterfront City 1,000 miles away. At this moment, the sword puppet Xian Jia was still facing off against the Grade 5 Black Flood Dragon. The Black Flood Dragon was slightly weaker and didn't want to suffer anymore. The Xian Jia wanted to preserve its strength and didn't dare to attack too much. It only slashed out a few times to scare the 2 Grade 5 Flood Dragons and share some of the pressure for Wang Jian. Wang Daoyuan muttered to himself, "In the extreme cold ice plains monster race, the Dragon race and the Black Tortoise race have the highest status. The Dragon race has the Ice Flood Dragon, an extremely strong monster king. For the Black Tortoise race to be able to fight against the Dragon race, they must have an expert. In the Xian Ice Turtle's memories, it also has a peak Grade 5 father, so the Black Tortoise race should also have a monster king. Last time when it fought the Black Flood Dragon, it was taught a lesson by the Xian Ice Turtle. This time, it still dares to swagger over, so it must have a backup plan. The backup plan to deal with the Xian Ice Turtle should be the Black Tortoise race's monster king. He should be able to control the Grade 5 Xian Ice Turtle to deal with the peak Grade 5 Black Tortoise bloodline. From Jia Qi's side, the human race doesn't have an advantage. If this continues, the monster race won't need to send out more people to win. I have to add some pressure to the monster race." Thinking about this, Wang Daoyuan ordered the Grey Rock to fly over from the 9 Skies astral wind layer. The Grey Rock was currently near the Wanshuan market and would be able to reach Waterfront City in 2 hours. Although his cultivation base was only at the middle 5th stage, he was not far away from the upper 5th stage. He wasn't strong enough to deal with the Monster King, but under Wang Daoyuan's control, dealing with the Grade 5 Black Flood Dragon at Waterfront City wasn't a problem. The Rock race had a saying that they countered the Dragon race. Of course, normal rock were just a variant of the phoenix race. They were only known for their speed, and their combat strength wasn't the top among god beasts, only above average. They wouldn't be able to gain an advantage when fighting with most true dragons. But against dragons and other dragons, they were their natural nemesis. Moreover, the grey rock came from the West Ocean. Even though it wasn't too powerful, it possessed the bloodline of an ancient beast. Just this point alone showed that he had the potential to compete with mythological beasts. Demigod beasts of the same level were no match for him. Along with the sword puppet mysterious armor, dealing with the 3 black flood dragons around Waterfront City was not a problem. After giving the order to Huipeng, Wang Daoyuan no longer cared about him. On Jia Qi's side, he was facing off against the 5 great archfiend kings. It would take a few hours before a victor was decided, so Wang Daoyuan didn't have to worry about it for now. He focused his attention on the Black Ice Tortoise in order to deal with the Greater Demon Monarch with the Black Tortoise bloodline. The Mystic Ice Tortoise couldn't directly cast large-scale Dharma spells like last time. The Black Ice Tortoise sneaked into the vicinity of Waterfront City and sent a message to Wang Xian, asking him to control the sword puppet Profound Armor and attack the upper-grade Class 5 Black Flood Dragon. He would wait for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack and see if he could take down the Black Flood Dragon. Wang Xian received the message, and the sword puppet Profound Armor once again turned into a silver light and attacked the Black Flood Dragon. The Black Flood Dragon didn't dare to let down his guard, so this attack didn't work. The difference in strength between the two sides wasn't great, and Wang Xian's control over his strength was still too weak, so he wasn't much of a threat to the Black Flood Dragon. After exchanging blows for a dozen breaths, it was only a draw. Suddenly, a foot-long icicle flew out of the water. Although the Black Flood Dragon wasn't strong, he still had experience. He knew that this attack could heavily injure him, so he hurriedly dodged. The Profound Armor condensed sword shadows and chased after the Black Flood Dragon. This was also a type of Dharma spell called Spirit Lock Sword. It used sword chi as a chain to lock the enemy. Once the sword chi wrapped around the enemy, the circulation of spirit power would be suppressed. The Black Flood Dragon was already having a hard time dodging the Mystic Ice Tortoise's methods, so how could he have time to dodge the Spirit Lock Sword? The sword chi quickly wrapped around his body. He only felt that the circulation of his spirit power was greatly hindered, and the flow of his spirit power became slower and slower. He wanted to break free from the sword chi, but he was powerless. The Ice Tortoise's icicle was less than 300 meters away from him. At such a close distance, it was difficult for him to use his spirit power. He was already in a situation where he would definitely die. At this moment, another icicle fell from the sky and shattered the Ice Tortoise's icicle. The icicle that appeared later also shattered at the same time. Both sides should be about the same strength. An exclamation came from the astral wind layer. "My son, Xian Yan, your strength has already caught up to me. What evil spell did Wang Daoyuan cast on you to make you betray the Black Tortoise race and work for the human race?" Before he finished speaking, an icy blue tortoise that was more than 30 meters long descended from the sky. "Xian Yan, why don't you come out and meet me?" Xian Yan flew out of the river and transformed into a muscular man in an icy blue robe. "The demons have no hope. If you don't want the Black Tortoise bloodline to be severed, surrender as soon as possible." Hearing this, Great Demon King Mystic Ice was stunned. "I'm your father. The Black Tortoise bloodline is rare. When you were young, I treated you like a treasure. Have you forgotten?" At this moment, Xian Yan's soul was trembling, as if he wanted to break free from Wang Daoyuan's control. This was normal. The higher one's cultivation, the stronger one's sensing ability. When one's own flesh and blood were together, it would naturally cause resonance. However, Wang Daoyuan was already hiding nearby. At such a close distance, an upper-grade 5th stage clone could not break free from the control of a soul formation cultivator. Xian Yan shouted, "There's no point in talking. Attack!" With that, he condensed 3 icicles and attacked Great Demon King Mystic Ice. Mystic Ice revealed a look of surprise. Xian Yan's technique was too exquisite. His cultivation was clearly lower than his, but the speed at which he condensed the icicles was faster than his. The consumption of spiritual power was smaller and the power of the icicles was almost the same as his. He opened his mouth and spat out a gust of cold air, condensing an ice wall in front of him and blocking the 3 icicles. The 2 ice tortoises were about the same strength, so they started a war of attrition. The upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragon was trapped by the Spirit Lock Sword. The 2 low-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragons hurriedly went to help. All the power of the Mystic Armor was used to maintain the Spirit Lock Sword, so it could no longer stop the 2 Black Flood Dragons. Moreover, the Mystic Armor only contained 3 5th stage Spirit Gathering Pearls. This kind of high-intensity battle could only last for an hour at most. Wang Jian did not dare to let him continue. He controlled the Mystic Armor to give up on the Spirit Lock Sword and continue to return to the top of Waterfront City. Using the cover of the formation, he delayed the 3 demonic beasts. The 2 sides continued to be in a stalemate. 2 hours later, the Grey Rock clone arrived at the astral wind layer above Waterfront City. At this moment, the upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragon was too far away. The Mystic Armor could not help. The Grey Rock's cultivation was slightly lower, so it was difficult for him to quickly kill the upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragon. Great Demon King Mystic Ice was even more so. Her Black Tortoise bloodline defense was extremely strong. Even if he shrank into his turtle shell and fought with the Grey Rock, the Grey Rock could not kill him. The Grey Rock also targeted one of the upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragons. This fellow's dragon blood concentration was lower and his cultivation was lower. Naturally, he was not strong. In addition, he was naturally restrained. It should not be a problem to deal with him. The Grey Rock was wrapped in astral wind and swooped down at an extremely fast speed. The 2 small Black Flood Dragons were fighting with the water dragons created by the formation. By the time they reacted, the Grey Rock's sharp claws had already grabbed the head of one of the small Black Flood Dragons. The sharp claws pierced through the small Black Flood Dragon's skull. The small Black Flood Dragon only struggled a few times before it completely lost its life. A 5th stage dragon species needed to cultivate for thousands of years. It was gone just like that. After killing 1 dragon species, Wang Daoyuan continued to control the Grey Rock to attack the other dragon species. Seeing the 2 of its kind being killed, the upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragon's eyes were about to pop out. It raised its head and let out a furious roar. He wanted to help, but the Mystic Armor used the Spirit-Locking Sword again. He could not care less about saving his own kind and could only hurriedly dodge the attack. The low-grade 5th stage Mixed Blood Dragon species had no resistance in front of the middle-grade 5th stage Grey Rock. The other small Black Flood Dragon was also quickly killed. After killing the 2 troublesome fellows, the Grey Rock started to attack the upper-grade 5th stage Black Flood Dragon. At this moment, Wang Daoyuan was multitasking and controlling Jia Qi at the same time. Great Demon Kings, how is the big show in Waterfront City? Why don't we go and take a look? The 5 Great Demon Kings were a little anxious. With Great Demon King Xian Bing and Great Demon King Xian Lin, they should have dealt with Waterfront City long ago. Especially Great Demon King Xian Jiao. Xian Lin was his son and the situation there was unclear, so he was naturally worried. Since the few of you are unwilling to give up, then let's go and take a look. The 10 peak Yuanying experts flew towards the east together. 2 hours later, they arrived near Waterfront City. The 2 Black Tortoise bloodline beasts were still fighting at a leisurely pace, and they were evenly matched. The mystic armor had used up a lot of spirit energy and had already entered the city to recover. The Black Flood Dragon, Xian Lin, didn't dare to fight the Grey Rock and could only use the Wan Chuanhe to dodge the attacks. There were 2 Black Flood Dragon corpses at the side, and the corpses of the 4th stage beasts were all over the ground. Xian Jiao wanted to save his son, but Jia Qi stopped him. "Didn't we agree to watch the show? Dao Yu, why are you in such a hurry?" Xian Jiao glanced at him and cursed in his heart, "You're not in a hurry. The one being beaten is my son." At this time, Xian Lin already had several 1-foot-long wounds on his body. Blood was constantly oozing out. The Grey Rock kept circling above the river. Xian Lin hid at the bottom of the river and couldn't completely avoid his detection. Once he was discovered, he would send a few wind blades over. Xian Jiao thought about it and knew that he wasn't Jia Qi's match. The number of great demon kings on both sides was about the same. Even if there were stronger and weaker ones, the victor couldn't be determined in a short time. He cursed angrily, "Great Demon King Xian Bing, are you trash? Your cultivation level is 1 level higher, but you can only fight to a draw against your own son." Great Demon King Xian Bing was furious and naturally didn't want to give in. "I didn't want to participate in this, but you guys insisted on coming. I don't know what evil spell Wang Daoyuan used to make my son Xian Yan not recognize me. He's especially strong." The Demon Slayer Sword's artifact spirit appeared again. "I thought the demons were powerful. In the end, this is all they have. When the Grey Rock kills the Black Flood Dragon, we will have the advantage." Jia Qi chimed in, "You Yao clan only have such little resources, yet you dare to have designs on my human clan. We humans still have Thunderfire Perfected Lord who hasn't made a move. Dao Yu should know about the sword puppets in Serene South City. When they come, the great demon kings won't be able to leave." Fire Phoenix smiled and said, "Extreme Arctic Ice originally had 3 great demon kings. Our heavenly/mountain range can't only have 2. Golden Winged Tiger, humans look down on us demons. Come out and show us what you're capable of." A tiger's roar came from the astral wind layer, and a white figure descended from the sky. The white figure went straight for the Grey Rock. Fortunately, the Grey Rock was fast enough. He turned into a gust of wind and dodged the attack. The white figure landed. It was a snow-white tiger. There was a pair of golden wings on the tiger's back, and its eyes were blood-red. He glanced at Linhai City. The cultivators controlling the giant crossbows on the city wall were trembling. Jia Qi still looked indifferent. They really do have a backup plan, but it's not a big deal. I can still hold on for a period of time while fighting 1 against 2. Thunderfire Perfected Lord should be arriving soon. With his cultivation level close to the late-stage Yuanying and the purple-gold exquisite pagoda, it shouldn't be a problem for him to take down a great demon king. Black Flood Dragon snorted coldly. The Ice Plains demons and the heavenly/mountain range demons have experts. How can the East Sea dragons not have experts? Ancestor, I'm incompetent and not a match for the humans. I can only ask you to come out. Chapter 1030. Hearing this, all the humans and demons present were shocked. The Black Dragon was at the peak of the 5th level. To be able to make him respectfully call him ancestor, he should be far above him in terms of strength and age. The Black Dragon and the other great demon kings had been in a deep sleep since the 5th level spiritual energy disappeared more than 10,000 years ago. They didn't wake up until their spiritual energy recovered. A 5th level beast could last for more than 10,000 years, which was basically the limit. Those who were much older than the Black Dragon could only be 6th level beasts. Yuanying and semi-god realm cultivators were worlds apart. It was the same for the demons. While everyone was guessing, huge waves rose on the sea. When the huge waves approached the Linhai state, they were raised by the shallow seabed. When the huge waves reached the shore, they were already more than 10 miles high. The waves reached the shore and swept for nearly 100 miles. Ever since Wang Daoyuan began to set a trap for the demons, the ordinary people in the Linhai state began to move inward. They had moved all the property that could be moved away, so the loss was not great. However, there were still many industries along the coast that could not be moved. When the huge waves hit, those industries were completely destroyed. After the huge waves reached the shore, a black dragon head appeared on the top of the waves, which was no different from a real dragon. The waves receded, and the dragon species revealed itself. The head and neck of this dragon species were exactly the same as those of a real dragon. Its 4 claws had 5 fingers, and its tail also had a thick mane. Unfortunately, it was carrying a turtle shell, which was exactly the same as the nether water black turtle. From the looks of it, it should have the bloodline of a real dragon and a black tortoise at the same time. A demon with 2 divine beast bloodlines might seriously affect its cultivation talent because of the conflict between the 2 bloodlines. Only in very rare cases would there be 2 bloodlines that complemented each other. Such a divine beast bloodline was far more talented than a half-divine beast, and it was not much worse than a real pure-blooded divine beast. Judging from the appearance of this dragon turtle, it should have dragon blood and black tortoise blood that complemented each other. As for whether it had the bloodline of a demon other than a divine beast, it was hard to say. The dragon turtle floated quietly in the air. All the humans and demons present felt a great pressure. The trace of spiritual energy emitted from its body made everyone tremble with fear. After a dozen breaths of time, the dragon turtle spoke, "Xian Jiao, you're too useless. The strongest among these humans is only at the late Yuanying stage. You can't even take them down." Xian Jiao didn't dare to disobey. He cupped his hands and said, "These people have extraordinary strength. Except for Jia Qi, the others all have magic tools that have been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Even if we use all our strength, it will still be very difficult for us to win. I'm incompetent, so I can only ask the old ancestor for help. Back then, I fought with Sir God Ling He of Divine Weapon Pavilion and suffered some injuries. Then, I have been recuperating. It didn't take long for the concentration of spiritual energy in Beiyuan to drop below level 6. I'll use the secret hibernation technique I inherited from the Black Tortoise clan to reduce the loss of my lifespan. When you made peace with the human race, I had just woken up, and the other awakened monsters had yet to recover their strength. I thought that since most of us monster clan experts were left behind 10,000 years ago, the speed of our recovery would be much faster than that of the human clan. I didn't expect that the human clan would produce an anomaly like Wang Daoyuan. His cultivation speed is faster than the monster clan's recovery speed. Even I didn't have the confidence to defeat him. After hiding at the bottom of the sea for decades, my spiritual energy has only barely recovered to level 6. I really don't have the confidence to defeat Wang Daoyuan, who is at the peak of Yuanying. However, it's nothing to deal with juniors like you." The human clan was stunned. Sir God Ling He was the former sect master of Divine Weapon Pavilion. He had already passed away 20,000 years ago. This old fellow had already become a level 6 monster 20,000 years ago. Although he couldn't unleash his full strength due to the lack of spiritual energy now, he was still able to control his strength. Yuanying cultivators couldn't compare to a level 6 monster's ability to control his strength. Moreover, he was already a level 6 monster. Yuanying cultivators would find it difficult to fight against a level 6 monster even if they had magic artifacts that had been passed down from generation to generation. Since you've been hiding for 20,000 years, why didn't you continue hiding? Why did you have to come out and die? The dragon turtle's calm demeanor disappeared because it did not discover where the person who spoke was. On the other hand, the human clan cultivators were overjoyed. They were all very familiar with Wang Daoyuan, so they could naturally recognize his voice. The dragon turtle roared, "Who are you? Why are you hiding here?" Wang Daoyuan's figure appeared above Linhai City. He didn't hide his aura at all and completely overshadowed the dragon turtles. He activated his domain divine ability and enveloped the group of monsters. The monster clan was no stranger to Wang Daoyuan. When they saw him appear, they were a little afraid. "As long as I get rid of all of you, Beiyuan's monster clan won't be able to do anything. Do you want to give up resisting and let me deal with you, or do you want me to personally send you away?" The dragon turtle sneered. Domain divine ability with the power of spatial laws. If it's just these juniors, I'm afraid they can only wait to be killed. However, Daoyu, don't forget that I'm still here. Although I'm not as strong as you, I can still delay you for a while. You're dreaming if you want to kill all of us. With that, a whirlpool appeared in the Thousand Rivers River. In just 2 breaths' time, the whirlpool expanded to a diameter of 50 kilometers. Under the absorption of the whirlpool, the river stopped flowing into the sea. Instead, the seawater flowed into the mouth of the river. Then, the dragon turtle drew a water column from the whirlpool and attacked toward the east. He wanted to rely on the power of the Thousand Rivers River to break through the restrictions of spatial laws. Wang Daoyuan didn't care. He used the power of his domain to suppress the whirlpool and the water column. Under his suppression, the whirlpool shrank visibly, and the water column's impact also weakened rapidly. The dragon turtle's spiritual power surged violently. The whirlpool below expanded again, and the water column's impact also increased. He roared, "Are you still waiting to watch the show? I've just recovered my 6th level cultivation and don't have enough spiritual power. I can't maintain it for long. Hurry up and rush out. Every single one of you can escape. If the monster clan doesn't have a monster king, they won't even be able to cause trouble for the human race in the future." It wasn't that easy for the monster clan to escape. Daoist Master Cloud Crane and the other Yuanian cultivators all had inherited spiritual weapons. They might not be able to take down a monster king, but holding him back for a few hours was no problem. Fire Phoenix and Blood-Eye Golden Winged Tiger wanted to use their wings to fly out, but Daoist Master Cloud Crane's demon refining cauldron came crashing down from the sky. Wang Daoyuan also used the power of space to weaken their spiritual power. Daoist Master Swordless waved the Demon Slayer sword in his hand, and a terrifying sword aura slashed out. Fire Phoenix and Blood-Eye Golden Winged Tiger hurriedly dodged, but they were still injured by the sword aura. The dragon turtle was still stubbornly holding on, but Wang Daoyuan didn't want to waste any more time with him. A 20,000-year-old dragon turtle. Its meat probably won't be cooked until it's soft. I won't leave you with an intact corpse. As long as the bones and dragon pearl are still around, I can reluctantly accept it. 30 bolts of heavenly water thunder instantly appeared beside the dragon turtle. The dragon turtle focused all his energy on competing with Wang Daoyuan. There was no chance for him to dodge the sudden appearance of heavenly water thunder. All 30 bolts of heavenly water thunder entered the dragon turtle's body. After a series of muffled sounds, the dragon turtle stopped moving. With a wave of his hand, Wang Daoyuan stored the corpse into the spirit pearl space and handed it to his clone, Huning, to examine its memories. As the descendant of a ghost immortal, Huning was also good at this kind of work. After taking care of the dragon turtle, the remaining monster kings were nothing to be afraid of. "Are you going to give up resisting and let me deal with you, or do you want to be slowly played to death?" The black dragon scolded angrily, "You killed my ancestor. This hatred is irreconcilable. We have the bloodline of divine beasts. How can we be slaves to a human?" These monster kings wanted to surrender, but Wang Daoyuan didn't dare to accept them. After all, they weren't spirit beasts that he raised. He couldn't completely trust them, or he would follow the same path as the Valley of Beasts. Uncle Masters, do you want to use these monster kings as practice, or do you want me to deal with them directly? Before the others could speak, the Demon Slayer Sword Ancestor shouted, Junior, you're quite powerful, but I wasn't bad either. I haven't fought in tens of thousands of years. Let me enjoy myself first. Perfected Xian Tian continued, let us practice. After this battle, there will be no more monster kings in Beiyuan. I'm afraid we won't have a chance to fight monster kings in the future. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Then, go ahead and practice. With me around, these monster kings can forget about escaping. These monster kings also knew that this was the setting sun of Beiyuan's demons. At this moment, they no longer had any thoughts of surviving. All of them used their full strength to fight the Yuanian cultivators. The battle lasted for more than 2 hours. Both the humans and demons were exhausted. Ice Flood Dragon looked up and laughed. Ha ha ha, awesome. These artifact spirits have also fought with our ancestors. To be able to fight them before they die, they won't have lived in vain. Wang Daoyuan, we underestimated you, resulting in today's disaster. There's no way for us to survive today. Before we die, we have one last request. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, don't worry. I won't kill all the demons. However, in the future, the demons will no longer have the ability to threaten humans. They will only become humans' vassals and cultivation resources. Ice Flood Dragon shook his head. I know that. The demons are still very valuable to humans. You won't destroy the demons, nor will you sever our bloodline. I want to beg you to kill me personally. You can be considered a peerless hero to be able to lead the humans to victory and completely defeat Beiyuan's demons. It's an honor to die at your hands. The other monster kings also spoke up, requesting Wang Daoyuan to kill them personally. Wang Daoyuan sighed. Everyone has been famous for more than 10,000 years. You should have a dignified death. I won't use any tricks on you. I'll send you on your way. With that said, he condensed 10 sword shadows and beheaded all the monster kings. As for Xian Lin, he had long been killed by Grey Rock. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, thank you for coming to help. Without you, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to fish out this stage 6 dragon turtle. I don't have much use for the monster king's corpses. Each of you can take one. This time, they were quite tempted. Beiyuan Xiaoxian still didn't have a mid-grade stage 5 spirit vein. Naturally, there wouldn't be any mid-grade stage 5 spirit items. And these monster king's corpses were all peak stage 5 refining materials. Even the demon beast meat was an extremely precious ingredient. After everyone declined for a while, they began to choose the demon beast corpses. Daoist Windwing naturally chose the Fire Phoenix's corpse. Using the Fire Phoenix's blood essence to nourish the Phoenix flag could also increase its power. Daoist Swordless chose the blood-eyed Golden-Winged Tiger. This thing was mainly used for killing. The refining materials on its body were compatible with sword cultivators. Daoist Cloud Crane chose the Black Ice's corpse. After all, it had the Black Tortoise bloodline. Its turtle shell was very suitable for refining. Daoist Xiantian took the Snow Bear's corpse and said with a smile, I wonder if the stage 5 Monster King's bear paw taste good. They all knew their limits and didn't choose the Ice Flood Dragons and Black Flood Dragons corpses. Dragon species had pseudo-dragon pearls, and their value was much higher than other half-divine beasts. Wang Daoyuan put away the other stage 5 demon beast corpses and said with a smile, Seniors, you've used up a lot of your spiritual power. Follow me to Linhai City to rest. Previously, everyone had fought the monster kings with lower cultivation. They could only rely on using up a lot of spiritual power to activate their legendary magic artifacts. Now that their spiritual power was almost exhausted, they urgently needed to meditate to recover. Naturally, they had no objections to Wang Daoyuan's suggestion. Wang Xian also closed the city barrier array and personally went to the city gate to welcome everyone. Chapter 1031. Everyone landed at the city gate. Wang Xian cupped his hands and said, "Junior Wang Xian greets seniors." Daoist Master Feng Yi smiled and said, "There's no need to be so polite. In terms of seniority, we are even lower than you. You are now at the late stage of the Golden Core realm. With Daoist Yuan's help, it won't be long before you can shatter your Golden Core and form your nascent soul. We can address each other as equals." Wang Xian was no longer polite. "Then, Dao Yu, please enter. The place with the densest spiritual energy in the city is the City Lord's Mansion. Please rest in the City Lord's Mansion first." After settling down a few people, Wang Xian and Wang Daoyuan came to the main hall of the City Lord's Mansion. Wang Xian looked at Wang Daoyuan with a gratified expression. "When I first took over the family, the Wang family was only a foundation establishment family. At that time, the dream of all the clansmen was to recreate the glory of our ancestors. After all these years, the development of the family has long exceeded my imagination. Even my own cultivation has surpassed the ancestors. But I never expected that you could break through to the soul formation realm and become the one and only soul formation cultivator in Beiyuan Xiuxian." Wang Daoyuan chuckled. "The future of the family will be even greater. Without the restrictions of the demon clan, there will be places for the clansmen to live everywhere. The spiritual energy in Beiyuan Xiuxian will gradually recover. In the future, there will be others in the family who will break through to the soul formation realm. By the way, how are the losses in Linhai Prefecture this time?" Wang Xian sighed. "The losses are not great, but there are also some casualties among the cultivators. When the rumors of you leaving Beiyuan Xiuxian spread, I arranged for people to transfer the ordinary clansmen to Qingli County. Although the demon clan came aggressively, there were no casualties among the ordinary clansmen. It's just that before the manpower of the coastal industries could be completely withdrawn, the rank 4 demons began to come out to sweep them. Dozens of clansmen guarding those industries died. The clansmen who died and were injured are compensated well. The industries don't matter. As long as there are spirit stones, they can be recovered at any time." The grandfather and grandson chatted for a long time. Zhou Luan sent a message. She learned that the demon clan had been dealt with and had returned to Qingli City. After meditating for a day in Clear Glass City, the cultivators had recovered more than half of their spirit energy. They all had important matters to attend to, so naturally, they wouldn't stay here for too long. Jia Qi flew the flying boat and sent everyone to Wanchuan Market. Daoist Xiantian cupped his hands and said, "Now that many of the demon monarchs have been eliminated, there are no more demons to wreak havoc in the east and the Arctic icy plains. It's time for us to return. Seniors, why are you in such a hurry? Why don't we stay in Qingli City for a while?" Daoist Xiantian smiled and said, "We appreciate Daoyuan's good intentions, but the demonic beasts here have been cleared. We still need to hold down the fort at the West Sea. We also gained a lot from this bloody battle with the greater demon monarch. He needed to go back and meditate in seclusion. Who knows, he might be able to break through. When you hold the divine transformation ceremony, we will come and listen to your preaching." Wang Daoyuan did not urge him to stay. After all, not all cultivators cultivated like him, with almost no bottlenecks. Especially Daoist Xian Tian and the others, they were not young anymore. In the past, because they did not have level 5 spirit qi, they were stuck at half-step yuanying for hundreds of years. They had long passed the golden period for cultivation improvement. Although they were not in a bad state yet, it was not easy to break through. After they exchanged some pleasantries, they left Wanchuan Market. There was no need to rush the divine transformation ceremony. Zhou only needed to train for a while and she would be able to break through. After she broke through, the two divine transformation ceremonies would be held together. One investment, two gifts. This was what it meant to be thrifty. Wang Daoyuan also took Lei Peng's flying boat to Qingli City. In the imperial study, Wang Shuyu was dealing with some matters. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Congratulations, 12th uncle, for finally cultivating to the Yuanying state." Wang Shuyu waved his hand. "Compared to you breaking through to the divine transformation realm, this is nothing. When I formed my core, Mingchen was not yet born. Now, he is about to form his nascent soul. I have just formed my nascent soul. It is nothing. How's the matter of the cultivation technique? I asked a powerful cultivator to help me in the heavenly mystery tower. It has been deduced to the peak of the 5th rank. When I deduced the art of overturn the sea, I also integrated the body refining function of the true dragon physical conditioning art. The art of overturn the sea is now a brilliant cultivation technique that can cultivate both essence and qi. That powerful cultivator wanted to help me reach the 6th rank, but my spiritual sense was too weak to continue. With my cultivation talent, the divine transformation realm is too far away. My current state is not bad. Then let's talk about it after you break through to the divine transformation realm. By then, your spiritual sense will be stronger and you will be able to stay in the illusion for a longer time. By the way, where are the 3 children? My niece-in-law is back. The 3 children are with her in the harem. At this moment, a foundation establishment cultivator walked in from outside the door. He took out a beast skin book. "Greetings, Your Majesty." "Greetings, Prime Minister." This is the list of losses sent by Yunnan County. Wang Shui waved his hand and the beast skin book returned to his hand. Just as the foundation establishment cultivator was about to leave, Wang Daoyuan said, "Wait a moment. What's the matter with your spiritual power? Not only does it come from your own cultivation, but it also seems to come from the outside world. Moreover, this spiritual power doesn't conflict with your own spiritual power. Instead, it seems to complement each other. This external spiritual power doesn't seem to be cultivated by humans. Instead, it seems to be the spiritual power of dragons." The foundation establishment cultivator cupped his hands and said, in reply to 7th Great Uncle, "I was previously in charge of the Clear River Carps on Jade Spring Peak. Later on, for some unknown reason, I became connected with a Clear River Carp who had awakened the bloodline of dragons. Father then asked His Majesty for the secret method to control spiritual beasts and turned Ink Carp into his natal spiritual beast. Mo Lin and I have been cultivating together, and the speed of our cultivation has improved greatly." Wang Daoyuan naturally knew about natal spiritual beasts. In fact, cultivating with the help of natal spiritual beasts was the most authentic inheritance in the Valley of Beasts. The founding ancestor of the Valley of Beasts, the supreme god of beasts, had domesticated a true dragon as his natal spiritual beast. Later on, many powerful people appeared in the Valley of Beasts, and each of them was good at different things. The inheritances in the Valley of Beasts were also diverse, and the art of taming beasts was not too conspicuous. In the past, in order to kill the 7th level evil dragon, almost all the higher-ups in the Valley of Beasts had died in battle. However, many of the branches were still preserved. In addition to the 4 hall masters and a few elders, it was completely possible to revitalize the Valley of Beasts. Later on, for some unknown reason, the spiritual beasts domesticated by the disciples of the Valley of Beasts all attacked their masters. All the branches in the Valley of Beasts were destroyed, and almost all the inheritances were cut off. Wang Daoyuan was worried that the family would repeat the same mistakes, so he didn't spread the inheritance of taming beasts. "I see that your face looks very familiar. What's your name? Who's your father?" In reply to 7th Great Uncle, "My name is Wang Dirun. My father is the clan leader. No wonder you look so familiar. So you're Mingshan's son. Alright, you can leave now. After bowing, Wang Dirun left the imperial study. Wang Daoyuan asked, 12th uncle, you can also cultivate this natal spiritual beast technique. You raised Wang Xianlong from a young age. Communicate with him more, and it won't be too difficult for you to understand him. You and Wang Xianlong can also increase your cultivation speed. There are still too few people in the family who can shoulder the burden. You have to work harder. This technique is not bad, but I heard that in the past, the Valley of Beasts suffered heavy losses in order to kill the 7th level evil dragon, and there was no opportunity for them to rise again. Later on, because of the rebellion of the spiritual beasts domesticated by the family, the inheritance was completely cut off. Our Wang family doesn't have such a strong foundation. If the demon beasts rebel, the losses will be great. Therefore, Mingchen and I don't dare to make the decision to let the other disciples cultivate this technique. Wang Daoyuan thought for a while. This was indeed a risky matter. Then ask the myriad spirits ancestor about the reason why the spiritual beasts domesticated in the Valley of Beasts rebelled. If we can't completely solve the problem of the demon beasts attacking their masters, we really can't let a large number of people cultivate the art of taming beasts. At this time, Wang Mingchen returned to the imperial study from the harem. He bowed to Wang Daoyuan. Greetings, father. Congratulations on breaking through to the soul formation realm. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Your cultivation progress is not slow. It shouldn't take long for you to break your gold core and form your nascent soul. First, accumulate your strength. When there is no room for improvement in your divine sense and spiritual power, it won't be too late to break your gold core and form your nascent soul. Now that the family is not in danger, you can rest assured and strengthen the foundation. Let the myriad spirits ancestor out. I have something to ask him. The myriad spirits ancestor's shadow immediately floated out. He looked at Wang Daoyuan for a while and praised, the son of fortune is indeed extraordinary. You reached the soul formation realm before the age of 500. In the last 100 generations of disciples in the Valley of Beasts, only 2 or 3 people could do it. These 2 or 3 people appeared before the formation of the heaven-decimating abyss. It's really not easy for you to cultivate to such a level in the current Beiyuan Xiuxian. If you have anything to ask, just say it. My grandnephew Wang Dirun cultivates the natal spiritual beast secret technique of the Valley of Beasts. Back then, the Valley of Beasts was ultimately destroyed by the demon beasts. I'm worried that his natal spiritual beast will attack his master in the future. Therefore, I want to ask about the reason why the demon beasts rebelled back then. Also, is there a possibility that this child Dirun will be bitten by the spirit beasts in the future? The myriad spirits ancestor was also brooding over the fact that the Valley of Beasts was crippled by the 7th rank evil dragon and was exterminated by the demon beasts. After a long silence, he said, "Don't worry. Natal spiritual beasts are different from ordinary domesticated spiritual beasts. They are bound to their master for good or ill. As long as they aren't crazy, they won't hurt their master. When the natal spiritual beast and the master are connected and cultivate together, the cultivation speed of both sides will greatly increase. Apart from this, the spiritual beast can also quickly develop intelligence with the help of the master. The benefits that the natal spiritual beast and the master receive are actually about the same, or even a little more. Therefore, the vast majority of spiritual beasts are willing to become the natal spiritual beast of the human race. The natal spiritual beast and the master are connected and can cooperate seamlessly when fighting in the future. The strength that they can display is definitely much stronger than ordinary spiritual beasts. This secret technique isn't difficult. It's just a special spirit commandeering secret technique called the symbiotic spirit commandeering technique. Later on, the Valley of Beasts produced divine venerable greenwood and other powerhouses. They didn't cultivate the symbiotic spirit commandeering technique and created other even more powerful techniques. And the symbiotic spirit commandeering technique has a huge flaw. Therefore, the core inheritance of the Valley of Beasts also changed. Flaw. What flaw does the symbiotic spirit commandeering technique have? You don't have to worry. It's not a problem with the technique itself, but that suitable spiritual beasts are extremely hard to find. The most basic condition is that the spiritual beast and the master are connected. Apart from that, it also requires that the spiritual beast and the master are compatible. The technique that the master cultivates and the Purple Mansion anomaly must be closely related to the spiritual beast. Otherwise, if the natal spiritual beast and the master can't cultivate together, it'll be meaningless. If the master cultivates forcefully, he may even suffer from chi deviation. That child, Durun, has good talent. He's a 2-spirit root cultivator and has a water spirit vein of 8.6 inches. His talent is almost on par with Shui. He has some Xianlong bloodline in his body and cultivates the Wang family's overturn the sea technique. His Purple Mansion anomaly should also be of the Xianlong bloodline. And Qing River Carp has the Xianlong bloodline in his body, so it's extremely compatible with him. Therefore, I taught him the symbiotic spirit commandeering technique. The symbiotic spirit commandeering technique can be cultivated together with ordinary techniques. He doesn't need to change his technique, so you don't have to worry about that. Chapter 1032. Hearing this, Wang Shui was very happy. So, I can also use the symbiotic spirit controlling technique on Wang Xianlong and make him my natal spirit beast? Ancestor myriad spirits nodded. Of course. Wang Xianlong has the bloodline of the Xianlong, and you have the Xianlong phenomenon. The cultivation technique you cultivate is the art of overturning sea, which is related to the Xianlong. There's no problem in terms of compatibility, and you can also cultivate telepathy. You raised Wang Xianlong from a young age, so it shouldn't take much effort. In fact, most natal spirit beasts are slowly cultivated to have telepathy with their masters. After all, telepathy with a spirit beast is extremely rare, and the possibility of it being compatible with one's Zifu phenomenon and cultivation technique is too low. Thus, my first master, the Myriad Beasts Venerable, created this kind of secret technique. As long as you find a compatible spirit beast and use the secret technique to interact with it for a period of time, you might be able to telepathy. Take it and cultivate for a period of time, and it should be enough. Remember, it's best to have only one natal spirit beast. When the time comes, not only will a natal spirit beast with a low cultivation be of no help, it might even slow down your cultivation speed. After all, cultivators with natal spirit beasts have a portion of the spirit beast's spirit energy in their bodies. The natal spirit beast's spirit energy and the cultivator's spirit energy complement each other, and the two are in a state of balance. If you have many divine beasts, your cultivation speed will be slow in a short period of time, but the balance will be even more difficult. If the spirit energy is out of balance, it will cause the cultivator's own spirit energy to be mixed, and they might go berserk. If there is any conflict between different natal spirit beasts, going berserk is almost inevitable. Many disciples in the Valley of Beasts were greedy and raised many natal spirit beasts, but in the end, they didn't achieve anything. With a wave of his hand, a jade slip on Wang Mingqian's desk flew into his hand. After inscribing some information, he handed the jade slip to Wang Shui. Wang Shui also cupped his hands and said, "Senior, don't worry. I know what to do." Wang Daoyuan asked, "Then what about the chaos in the Valley of Beasts? Now that the family has raised many spirit beasts, I have to be prepared." Ancestor Myriad Spirits sighed. The demons caused the chaos in the Valley of Beasts, and I was also at fault. Because it was very difficult to find a life-bound spirit beast, most cultivators used the general spirit controlling technique to control the demonic beasts. Normally, when the imperial spirit technique was used to control demonic beasts, one would need to give them cultivation resources to increase their strength. The ordinary disciples in the sect did not have enough resources for their own cultivation, so how could they have extra resources to raise spirit beasts? Therefore, their spirit beasts were not raised by themselves. Instead, they caught demonic beasts and forced them to acknowledge them as their masters. Usually, due to the lack of resources, they treated the spirit beasts harshly. It was inevitable that these spirit beasts would harbor hatred in their hearts. Once their masters were in trouble, it was not uncommon for spirit beasts to attack their masters. In order to make these captured spirit beasts obedient, the elders at that time came up with a plan. These captured demonic beasts will first be placed in the 10,000 spirits pagoda to eliminate their wild nature and mark them with my divine sense. To put it bluntly, it was to torture them and leave a mark on them. As long as they dare to rebel, I can kill them at any time. However, back then, when I faced that Type 7 vicious dragon, I managed to hold it off for over an hour. My main body was severely injured, and I fell into a deep slumber. The spirit beasts that had been branded with my spiritual sense also sensed that the power of my spiritual sense brand had disappeared. The resentment that had accumulated for many years suddenly erupted. Because of my suppression, those disciples were also unscrupulous, and one person had multiple spirit beasts. When the spirit beasts attacked their masters, they were naturally powerless to resist. That was why the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts was cut off. The Valley of Beasts died because of me. I am truly ashamed of my past masters. Seeing his sorrowful appearance, Wang Daoyuan hurriedly consoled him. Who would have thought of this? At that time, Beiyuan no longer had a Type 7 spirit vein, but there was a vicious dragon that broke through. Moreover, the idea of dealing with the spirit beasts was also from the other elders. The ones who abused the spirit beasts were those disciples. You were just lax in your discipline, and were used by disciples with bad intentions. I didn't know the reason before, and I was worried that the Wang clan would repeat the same mistakes, so I didn't let my clansmen cultivate the spirit-controlling technique. Now it seems that it can be lifted. However, there are some rules to be set. First, the symbiotic spirit-controlling technique can be cultivated by all clan members, but it must be approved by the clan's higher-ups, and there can only be one symbiotic spirit beast. Second, the normal spirit-controlling technique can control spirit beasts, and you must use the spirit beasts that you have raised since young. If you dare to capture an adult spirit beast and force it to recognize you as its master, you will be expelled from the main branch and given a spirit vein to establish a branch of the clan, never to return to the main branch. Also, if you violate the clan's rules and refuse to change, you will be expelled from the main branch and establish your own power. Mingchen, write down what I said and pass it on to Mingshan. In the future, these two rules will be the clan's rules. The inheritance of the Valley of Beasts was almost cut off, and our Wang clan must not repeat the same mistake. As the clan grew, there would be more clansmen, and the clan's higher-ups would not be able to take care of everyone. The bigger the clan, the easier it was for scum to appear. Although the Wang clan had him, a soul formation cultivator, in charge, he would have to conquer the world in the future and fight in the war of luck. The clan had to be his solid backing, and not find trouble for him. Those clansmen who were dishonest were all expelled from the main branch and established their own branches outside, so as to prevent the main branch's foundation from being damaged. Wang Mingchen cupped his hands and said, "Father, don't worry. I will tell Brother Mingshan to do it." Patriarch Myriad Spirit sighed. If the Valley of Beasts had this courage back then, we would not have ended up like this. Forget it, it's all in the past. In the future, I will assist the sect master well. When the Valley of Beasts is carried forward, we must set the rules. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, unfortunately, my vision is Yinglong, and there is no living Yinglong in this world. Moreover, there are only a few who are qualified to be part of Yinglong's bloodline, and they are all top divine beasts. Not to mention Beiyuan Xiuxian, I'm afraid even the entire Qianyuan realm will be hard to find. Patriarch Myriad Spirits chuckled. Do you need a natal spirit beast? A natal spirit beast is used to increase the speed of cultivation and improve the strength of a battle. You have the 5-element spiritual fire, so your cultivation speed is faster than having a natal spirit beast. Do you want to raise a pet to slow down your cultivation speed? Besides, even if you raise a natal spirit beast, it will be useless. The spiritual fire will completely refine the spirit beast's spiritual power, so it won't increase the speed of cultivation. As for the battle, I heard about how you killed the rank 6 dragon turtle in Linhai Prefecture. Just his domain alone could suppress the dragon turtle's full-powered attack. He could also block the other greater demon monarch's paths of retreat. With this ability, you only need special spirit beasts like the scarlet-feathered crow and the soul-eater tiger. These spirit beasts can be raised normally. There is no need to raise them as natal spirit beasts. I'm just lamenting. I really don't like ordinary demon beasts. Unless I really get a divine beast, I need to consider whether to raise one as a natal spirit beast. By the way, I encountered a strange thing in Qixing Si Xiuxian community. I can't be sure, so I can ask you. Upon hearing this, Patriarch Myriad Spirits was curious. You have seen a lot. What other strange things can you encounter? Tell me. Have you heard of Yinglong's son, Kenma? Of course. The Valley of Beasts started by domesticating divine beasts, so they know all kinds of strange beasts very well. Kenma is the ancestor of the Kirin clan. His appearance is between Yinglong and Kirin. This guy also has some of Yinglong's luck. There is only one Kenma in the world, and he disappeared after giving birth to the Kirin clan. Like Yinglong, this thing can't be drawn. Using his image to create things like spells will also backfire, but it is much lighter than Yinglong's. Why? You saw this thing? If I see Kenma, I will release Yinglong and take him down. Do you still need to ask? I just heard it from an old friend of Qixing Si Xiuxian community. The two biggest forces there fought, and the reason for the war was this Kenma. According to my old friend, a golden monster, Kirin, more than 300 meters long, appeared. The Kirin's aura was very strong, far stronger than that of a soul formation cultivator. There was also a light on its body, which dissipated after a dozen breaths. The surrounding houses and cultivators were intact. A few days after that, the two forces went to war. Kenma appeared in the Imperial Regency's territory, and the Imperial Regency took the initiative to attack the more powerful Seven Stars Alliance. I have two guesses. One is that they found an ancient treasure that has a lot to do with Kenma. The other is that this Kenma is someone's purple mansion anomaly. Patriarch Myriad Spirit's face became serious. Are you trying to say that this person is also a son of Providence? Wang Daoyuan nodded. There is only one Kenma in the entire Qianyuan realm. It is unlikely that he would go to a remote place like the Sea of Seven Stars. Even if it is really an ancient treasure, it can only be obtained by someone with great providence. If someone can get it before me, he must be a son of Providence. I want to know if there is a big age gap between sons of Providence. I am already a soul formation cultivator, but he has just opened his purple mansion. Patriarch Myriad Spirit pondered for a long time before saying, I have seen 2 batches of Sons of Providence. Although each batch of Sons of Providence is not born in the same year, the difference in age is not small. However, the difference in age wouldn't be too big. The difference between the oldest and the youngest wouldn't exceed 100 years. For Sons of Providence, being born first gives them the upper hand. The heavenly Tao is fair and will not be too biased toward a certain Son of Providence. That's strange. I am already more than 400 years old, and that kid has just opened his purple mansion. The age gap is definitely more than 200 years. Could it be that this Kenma is really an ancient treasure that was obtained by a son of providence from the Sea of Seven Stars? Patriarch Myriad Spirit shook his head. That's not very likely. Before the appearance of the decimating heaven abyss, the Valley of Beasts was also a famous sect. We also know a lot of the secrets of the Qianyuan realm. It was impossible for an exotic beast like the building horse, which was related to luck, to be refined into a treasure. After they die, there will be no remnant soul left behind. Their bodies and other things will return to the world. Therefore, it was impossible for this item to be a rare treasure related to building horses. You can control Long, so it is not strange that other sons of providence can control Kenma. It is just that the methods he uses cannot surpass a soul formation cultivator's aura. Just like how you are controlling Yinglong now, this Yinglong's aura should be comparable to your cultivation. If it is a method that can surpass a soul formation cultivator's aura, this person is at least a Mahayana cultivator. According to what you said, there are no Mahayana cultivators in the Sea of Seven Stars. If a Mahayana cultivator really appears, there is no need to fight. Just kill the opponent's upper echelons and take over the opponent's forces. Wang Daoyuan was also a little confused. It was impossible for an ancient treasure, a purple mansion phenomenon, and a son of providence's methods to be possible. He really could not think of anything. Patriarch Myriad Spirit thought for a long time before saying, I can't think of a reason for this matter in a short time, but my first master liked to collect some secrets. These secrets are recorded in a notebook, and there are many things that I have not seen. When Mingchen inherited the position of sect master, the inheritance was given to you. Look for the original copies of those inheritances and see if you can find them. Chapter 1033. Back then, when he obtained the inheritance from the Valley of Beasts, he only had his clone copy the content related to cultivation. As for some strange things, they were only temporarily put aside after being classified. After hearing Patriarch Myriad Spirit's words, Wang Daoyuan immediately ordered his clone in the space of the Spirit Pearl to find these strange things. They were originally classified and put away, so it didn't take much effort. Wang Daoyuan quickly took out a golden book that was more than a foot thick. The words, Myriad Beast Chronicles, were engraved on the cover. Do you think this is it? Patriarch Myriad Spirit picked up the golden book and checked it. It should be him. My main body was refined a long time after the old master cultivated to the almighty realm. I don't know much about the old master's early experiences. He flipped through it for a long time, and his eyes lit up. This is it. The old master has a wide range of friends and collected many legends. The legends about the Son of Providence are all here. There are many things recorded here that I really don't know. It seems that your deduction is right. Kenma is indeed the Son of Providence of the Sea of Seven Stars and has opened his purple palace. Isn't the age difference between the Sons of Providence not big? It's my lack of knowledge. The old master and several Earth Immortals have discussed this matter. According to the secret records, the heavenly Tao will adjust the birth time according to the birthplace and birth conditions of the Son of Providence. However, for someone like you who was born in a foundation establishment family, there is a world of difference between you and those descendants of Earth Immortals. If you were born at the same time, you wouldn't have a chance of winning, and there would be no fairness. Although the Wang family is not weak now, its current strength mainly depends on you. This is not a gift from the heavenly Tao. Your background is very low, and you were born in Beiyuan, a place where spiritual energy is exhausted. There shouldn't be a worse environment in the entire Qianyuan realm. In order to compensate for your extremely poor conditions, you should be born a few hundred years earlier. Legend has it that in a group of sons of providence that appeared more than 400,000 years ago, the oldest one was born with very poor conditions. He was born more than 700 years earlier than the latest son of Providence. Although the Sea of Seven Stars was not as good as the Qianyuan continent, it still had a level 6 spiritual pulse. Moreover, that person was born in a great power that had existed for tens of thousands of years. In terms of inheritance and resources, he was much stronger than you. It's only fair that he was born a few hundred years later than you. This cultivation speed of yours is considered extremely fast among the children of destiny. The son of Providence was not born with extremely strong providence. Instead, the higher one's cultivation level was, the more providence would be bestowed by the heavens. The heavenly Tao would not casually give a person a large amount of providence. It also depended on one's own efforts. Even if he was a seedling of the son of Providence, if he was useless, the heavenly Tao would not continue to descend more providence. With such a poor background, you were able to break through to the semi-god realm before the age of 500. In addition, during cultivation, he could simultaneously produce the power of qi and blood as well as the power of divine sense. The speed at which his primordial spirit was nurtured would far surpass that of ordinary cultivators. In that case, it's very likely that you'll be able to break through to the Mahayana realm within 1,000 years. As for the Almighty Realm, you need enough immortal energy. The advantage of being able to convert spiritual energy into spiritual energy is even greater. I think you will become the youngest Almighty in the entire Qianyuan realm. The pressure is still very great. The Qianyuan continent has tens of thousands of years of history. There are countless Earth Immortal and Almighty inheritances left behind. The successors cultivated by these inheritances might be stronger than me. Patriarch Myriad Spirit looked disdainful. So what if he is the son of an Earth Immortal? I have lived for more than 200,000 years. My knowledge is not necessarily less than those Earth Immortals. In addition, you have the support of the Valley of Beasts inheritance. Other than the lack of resources, your postnatal conditions are considered above average among the children of destiny. Not all the children of destiny have good backgrounds. Back then, Sword Immortal Guiyuan was an itinerant cultivator and had no one to guide him. If he was not born in the central part of the Qianyuan continent, his conditions would be worse than yours. Wang Daoyuan was still a little worried about the son of Providence in the Sea of Seven Stars. When he opened his purple mansion phenomenon was only the 5 elements divine beasts. Later, when he shattered his core and formed his nascent soul, the 5 elements divine beasts merged into one and became the Yinglong phenomenon. When the son of Providence in the Sea of Seven Stars first opened his purple mansion, it was Kenma's phenomenon. This was the level of a divine beast patriarch, much stronger than the 5 elements divine beasts. If his phenomenon changed again when he formed his nascent soul, it might become Yinglong or even stronger. The son of Providence in the Sea of Seven Stars had a Kenma phenomenon when he opened his purple mansion. It was stronger than my 5 elements divine beasts. In the future, when he shatters his core and forms his nascent soul, will this phenomenon be even stronger? Whether it is in my memory or the secret information recorded by the old master, there has never been anything about a phenomenon change. It will always be the same as when he opened his purple mansion. There will be changes in strength, but there will never be a fundamental change. I have never heard of your 5 elements phenomenon turning into Yinglong. The previous son of Providence had a sky dragon and sky phoenix phenomenon. The Sky Dragon was the ancestor of the Dragon clan, and the Sky Phoenix was the ancestor of the Phoenix clan. The Sky Dragon and Sky Phoenix were the same as Kenma. They were all the sons of Yinglong. When the children of destiny emerged victorious in the end, none of the techniques they used had any trace of the flying raindragon's aura. However, ever since Yinglong disappeared, there were only rumors about him in the world. However, you can have a Yinglong phenomenon. Either you are an anomaly among the sons of Providence, or the upcoming great tribulation of heaven and earth is too powerful. In the future, all the sons of Providence might have a Yinglong phenomenon. It's hard to say whether you are an anomaly among the sons of Providence now. Now, Wang Daoyuan had basically confirmed that he should be an anomaly among the sons of Providence. After all, he was the spirit of the pearl in his first life, and the spirit pearl was nurtured by the ancestral Dragon Mountain. He and Yinglong could be considered brothers. As the main spirit vein of the Qianyuan realm, the ancestral Dragon Mountain had nurtured the spirit pearl for countless years. It was impossible for the entire Qianyuan realm to have another spirit pearl. In terms of innate foundation, no one could compare with him. This was his biggest secret, and he couldn't reveal it easily. It seems that the next time I go to the Sea of Seven Stars, I have to catch that son of Providence alive and see what's going on with him. Then, he took out a few stacks of animal skin books and handed them to Wang Mingchen. This trip to and from the Sea of Seven Stars passed by the edge of the ice field. The basic information of the sea conditions and islands along the way are recorded here. Our Wang family can't stay in Beiyuan forever. We have to go out. I plan to establish a connection between the two cultivation worlds. These islands just happen to be useful. You can choose a suitable place to build a transit station and a communication array. You can send someone to investigate which islands can be built as a transit station and which islands can be built as communication arrays. I'll leave these matters to you. You can use the power of the Yen Kingdom or the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. Wang Mingchen took the animal skin books and nodded solemnly. Father, don't worry. It's related to the future of the family. I'll do my best. Now, the ice field, sky/mountain range, and the demon kings of the East Sea have been dealt with. The remaining 5th-level demons will probably have to hide. They won't dare to show up easily. There are a lot of mineral resources in these places. They can all be exploited. As for the ice field, we have to support those half-demons who can adapt to the cold environment to occupy it, lest the ice field demons make a comeback. Go and deal with it. My avatar checked the dragon turtle's memory and found something. I need to go to the East Sea. I'll tell your mother later. Then, he took out a dozen pill bottles. This is the nascent cultivating pill. I don't need it now. 12th uncle, don't save it. Use this to improve your cultivation. Grow up early so that I can have no worries. Don't worry about the others. I have a lot of these things. Wang Shui took the pill bottle. I can be where I am today all because of your resources. I won't stand on ceremony with you. In the future, I'll have to fight for you in the War of Providence. Wang Daoyuan smiled. I'll wait for that day. With that, he set up Lei Peng's flying boat and left Qingli City. His avatar's cultivation was low, so it was a bit strenuous to torture the 6th-level dragon turtle's soul. Only now did he clear the dragon turtle's memory. This dragon turtle had lived for tens of thousands of years. There were a lot of valuable things in its memory. As members of the dragon race, they were all the same. They didn't have much passion for cultivation, but they were all top experts in womanizing. Not to mention those female flood dragons when they were young, he knew a lot of important information. According to the dragon turtle's memory, when he fell asleep more than 20,000 years ago, he was already more than 20,000 years old. Even the black tortoise could only live for 40,000 years at most with a 6th-level cultivation. But this guy already had a lifespan of close to 50,000 years in addition to the time he slept. Before he was killed, he was far from being at the end of his life. For him to be able to live past the upper limit of his lifespan, apart from the hibernation method inherited from the black tortoise bloodline, he also consumed 2 kinds of spirit medicines. These 2 kinds of spirit medicines were the soul-intoxicating grass and the golden body fruit. Even in the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts, there was no mention of these 2 kinds of spirit items. The soul-intoxicating grass required 6th-level spirit energy to survive. It could grow to 7th level high grade at most. Just like its name, this thing's medicinal properties were mainly targeted at the soul. After consuming the soul-intoxicating grass, the entire person or demonic beast would fall into a state of suspended animation. The soul would be completely asleep, and not even a trace of divine sense power would leak out. This thing could totally be used as a poison, but it also had extremely high value. After consuming this soul-intoxicating grass, even if one didn't fall into a deep sleep, it had a great nourishing effect on the soul. If it could be combined with other spirit medicines, it might be able to refine a kind of medicinal pill that increased divine sense cultivation. This was a 7th level spirit medicine, which was useful even for mighty figures. The golden body fruit also had a similar effect, but it was used on the body. After consuming the golden body fruit, the circulation of qi and blood in the body would be extremely slow, very close to completely stopping. Moreover, the golden body fruit itself had an extremely strong effect of replenishing qi and blood. In addition, after consuming the golden body fruit, a special kind of energy would form on the surface of the body, protecting the essence, qi, and spirit in the body from leaking out. This kind of situation was similar to the leakless golden body divine ability, hence the name golden body fruit. High-grade spirit plants also contain some power of law. The power of law contained in these two kinds of spirit medicines seemed to have a certain interference effect on the law of life and death. Therefore, consuming these two kinds of spirit medicines could extend the lifespan of a person or demonic beast. The dragon tortoise was able to live until now mainly because of these two things, other than the black tortoise clan's hibernation method. Wang Daoyuan didn't want this thing just to sleep on it. Human cultivators were different from demonic beasts. The souls of demonic beasts were always simply hidden in their bodies. However, human cultivators constantly strengthened their souls during the process of cultivation. The primordial spirit of a soul formation cultivator was already extremely stable. It was impossible for them to fall into a deep sleep with just these two kinds of spirit medicines. However, the soul-intoxicating grass could increase divine sense cultivation, and the golden body fruit could increase qi and blood, slow down the consumption of qi and blood, and assist in body refinement. At the soul formation realm, there were no more medicinal pills that could increase the speed of cultivation. Only some special elixirs could increase one's cultivation. Now that he had encountered two of them, he naturally couldn't let them go. In the dragon tortoise's memory, these two kinds of spirit medicines grew in an underwater secret realm in the depths of the East Sea. That secret realm was also the place where the dragon tortoise hibernated. It was especially famous and was called the East Sea Dragon Palace. Chapter 1034. Now that Beiyuan Xiaoxian spirit veins had just recovered to level 5, there were definitely no living plants of the two types of spirit plants in the mystic realm. However, the spirit plants had survived in the mystic realm for many years and must have left behind many seeds. Although level 6 spirit plants took a long time to grow, it would take at least 5,000 years, or even 10,000 years. However, in Wang Daoyuan space with the spirit pearl, 10,000 years was nothing. After riding Lei Peng's flying boat and entering the sea in Linhai Prefecture, they headed south. After flying for a day, they stopped on a small island. This small island was less than 100 miles in radius, and there was a small lake with a radius of 10 miles on the island. This island was less than 1,000 miles away from the heaven/mountain range, and there was a level 5 low-grade attributeless spirit vein at the bottom of the sea. As long as there was a mystic realm, there must be a spirit vein nearby. After all, a mystic realm also needed to exchange energy with the outside world. Without a spirit vein, a mystic realm could not be supported. In the dragon turtle's memory, the entrance to the mystic realm was at the bottom of the lake. Wang Daoyuan put away the Lei Peng's flying boat and dived into the bottom of the lake. Soon, he came to a small stone mountain at the bottom of the lake. After turning and turning in the rocks, he soon came in front of a light screen. According to the dragon turtle's memory, the surviving great demon kings of the demon race were all gone. Even if there were any demonic beasts in this mystic realm, they would not dare to do anything. From the dragon turtle's memory, he learned that it had always been alone. Demonic beasts would not set up formations or anything like that, so there was no need to worry about any tricks inside. Wang Daoyuan used the black tortoise bright light armor, and his body was wrapped in a layer of black armor as he walked straight into the light screen. The environment in this mystic realm was very good. The entire mystic realm was more than 600 miles in diameter, which was considered relatively large in Beiyuan. His divine sense swept around the mystic realm and did not find any demonic beasts. The overall situation in the mystic realm was high in the west and low in the east. The west was a relatively tall mountain range. There were many spirit springs in the mountain, and these spring water formed streams. These streams converged together and eventually formed a small river that flowed towards the southeast. In the southeast direction of the mystic realm was a relatively large lake. Most of the secret realm was still flat land. There were many forests around the rivers and lakes. His avatar, Huning, forcefully searched the dragon turtle's soul. His cultivation level was not high enough after all, so the memories he searched were incomplete. He only knew that there used to be soul-intoxicating grass and golden body fruit growing in this secret realm, but the exact location was unknown. Wang Daoyuan could only release the soul-chasing bees that he hadn't used for many years and let them search for ancient seeds with spirituality in this mystic realm. After all, he was now a divine transformation cultivator, and the oldest wasp king of the soul-chasing wasps was only at the middle of the 4th rank. Ordinary soul-chasing bees were mainly rank 3 middle grade, with a small number of rank 3 upper grade. Be it speed or strength, the soul-chasing bees were of no use. Ever since he started refining the Qianquan gourd, Wang Daoyuan let the old queen bee breed many new queen bees and let them live in the various Qianquan gourds. Now, Wang Daoyuan had over 100 small soul-chasing bees. The strongest of the new queen bee was only at the 3rd stage upper grade. Other than collecting pollen and producing royal jelly, it had no other uses. Unfortunately, after searching for a long time, he didn't find anything. It seemed that old tortoise hadn't been idle before. Some of the seeds had also been cleaned up. He put away the soul-chasing wasps and jumped into the lake in the southeast of the mystic realm. This mystic realm dared to be called the East Sea Dragon Palace because there was a luxurious underwater cave under the lake of the mystic realm. Wang Daoyuan entered the lake and found that it was a saltwater lake. However, it was normal when he thought about it. The core of the mystic realm was connected to the sea outside through the core, so it wasn't rare for seawater to enter this place. The bottom of the lake was full of corals and there were many glowing spiritual plants, illuminating the entire bottom of the lake with colorful lights. It really did look like a crystal palace. Unfortunately, the grades of these corals and spiritual plants were too low and there wasn't much value in cultivating them. He only collected a few and raised them in the space of the spiritual pearl. Among the corals, there was also a road paved with gold bricks. These gold bricks were genuine crafting materials. Even now, they were still at the 4th level of the upper grade. 10,000 years ago, the grade would only be higher. Moreover, these gold bricks looked quite old. They were at least tens of thousands of years old. Wang Daoyuan also stopped looking down on it. Previously, he thought that the Dragon Palace was built by Old Tortoise himself and was just a grassroots organization. Now, it seemed that a true dragon might have lived in this crystal palace. As he walked along the gold brick road, the grades of the corals around him became higher. After walking for more than 30 miles, a huge palace complex appeared in front of him. This group of palaces was similar to the legendary Dragon Palace. The materials used in the palaces were all sparkling. At the outermost part of the palace, there was a tall crystal arch with the words, "Dragon Palace of the Pan Shan Lake," written on it. These words were written in the ancient language of the human race. He really didn't know if this dragon palace was built with the help of the human race or by the demon race. After the dragon race cultivated to rank 7, their spiritual intelligence was extremely high. At that time, they would also be able to learn some cultivation arts. A true divine beast's talent in this aspect was not much worse than that of the human race. This was also the main reason why the human race with pure divine beast bloodline could not be affected in all aspects. Those semi-divine beasts had the bloodline of other demon beasts. Their talent in this aspect was indescribable. The reason why the human race could stand shoulder to shoulder with the divine beasts was because they could reproduce and cultivate quickly. In addition, they had a high growth limit. An expert at the level of Beiyuan sword Immortal had never appeared among the divine beasts. The corals in front of the palace were already rank 4 upper grade. They were even emitting gold and silver light. Wang Daoyuan recognized this kind of coral. It was called gold-silver coral. The gold-silver coral's growth limit was very high. Under the condition of abundant spiritual energy, it could grow to rank 7. Moreover, this gold-silver coral could absorb metallic spiritual energy, causing the coral to have some characteristics of metallic materials. If it grew for a long time, some golden sand would accumulate in the coral. If the coral was tempered with flames, a small amount of metallic materials could be extracted. It could be said that this gold-silver coral was a metal ore that could continuously grow. This made Wang Daoyuan extremely excited. The space of the spiritual pearl could produce endless spiritual energy and could cultivate all kinds of spiritual plants. The biggest flaw now was the lack of metallic materials. Although there were many spiritual plants planted in the space of the spiritual pearl that could be used for refining, spiritual plants were not suitable for forging too much. They could not safely replace metallic materials. Near the Tai golden flame in the space of the spiritual pearl, a miniature mountain range appeared. The mountain rocks seemed to contain Tai divine gold. However, the miniature mountain range was too small. It was only about 30 meters long and less than 20 meters tall. It was estimated that if the entire mountain was dug up, it could at most refine 2 or 3 magic weapons. It was really not worth it. This coral had this effect. Even if the metal produced from it was relatively ordinary. As long as the grade was high, its value would not be low. Especially when refining a large magic weapon like the flying warship, the demand for refining materials was high. However, the materials were not required to be precious. If the strength of the materials was not enough, it could be increased by various refining techniques. Other materials could also be added to refine it into 100 refinement gold. By planting a large number of gold-silver coral, with the flow of time in the space of the spiritual pearl, there should be no need to worry about the lack of metallic materials in the future. If he could obtain this gold-silver coral, this trip would not be in vain. After collecting more than 10 corals, he walked to the front of the crystal archway. There was a transparent restriction in the archway. Wang Daoyuan carefully observed the patterns on the restriction. There were formation patterns and a special inscription pattern among the patterns. It was extremely similar to the nomological inscriptions, but it was obviously much more profound. According to some records of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, this should be a heavenly Tao inscription pattern. The Tao was the highest level of power in this world. The nomological laws could be said to be the projection of the Tao. The true Tao would not manifest easily. The most basic requirement for a cultivator to break through to the Mahayana realm was to be able to sense the existence of the Tao and use the power of the nomological laws to imitate the power of the Tao. It was just like how core formation required one to sense the power of the nomological laws and use spirit energy to imitate the power of the nomological laws. For a heavenly Tao inscription pattern like this, one had to be at least at the realm of a mighty figure to be able to inscribe it. The formation patterns in the restriction were obviously different from the formation patterns of the human race. It should be a formation pattern that the dragon race had researched on their own. It was still very difficult to understand such formation patterns. In the memories of the dragon turtle that Hun Yinchuan had extracted, there was also some information about the restriction here. Wang Daoyuan began to use the secret technique according to the dragon turtle's memories. Soon, the restriction on the crystal arch was opened. Wang Daoyuan was not in a hurry to find the item. Instead, he looked around and figured out the layout of the dragon palace. The dragon palace was not small. It was even bigger than the Yen country's palace in Qingli City. However, most of the palaces were empty and did not even have a defensive formation. This was also within Wang Daoyuan's expectations. After all, the Dragon Palace had at least tens of thousands of years of history. What good things would be left here now? According to the Dragon Turtle's memories, he came to the center of the palaces. There was still a restriction guarding this place. However, the Dragon Turtle's memories also had a method to break the restriction. Wang Daoyuan formed a complicated hand seal with both hands. Soon, the restriction was opened. This hall was a little like the imperial hall of Immortal Palace. After entering the door, it was a place similar to the imperial court. There was a gorgeous throne on the main seat. There were 9 dragons carved on it. The entire throne was crystal clear. There were also some gemstones and pearls inlaid on it. Under the illumination of these treasures, the 9 dragons seemed to come alive. The grade of the materials was not low. Unfortunately, they were flashy and did not have much practical value. However, he could bring it back and make himself look good in the future. After putting the throne into the space of the spirit pearl, Wang Daoyuan went to the back of the hall. In the depths of the hall, there was a spirit spring. Its grade was not low. It had already been restored to the lower grade of the 5th level. This spirit spring was the core of the entire mystic realm. Back then, the dragon turtle was sleeping in this spirit spring. Wang Daoyuan came to the bank of the spirit spring. This was an underground stone room. There were some cupboards on the wall. There were many things placed on them. Wang Daoyuan looked at them one by one. There were special Dharma artifacts, various gemstones, pearls, and the like. They were all at the peak of the 4th level. In the past, their grades should have been higher. However, without the nourishment of high-grade spirit chi, their grades had dropped. After putting these things in the space of the spirit pearl, it would not take long for them to be restored to the 6th level. Wang Daoyuan naturally would not let them go. Together with the Dharma artifacts and refining materials, he put them into the space of the spirit pearl. In the corner of the cupboard, there were a few 1-foot-tall jade bottles. Wang Daoyuan looked at these jade bottles and found that the things inside were actually some seeds. There were also some restrictions in the bottles to protect the seeds. God knows how many years have passed. Most of the seeds have lost their vitality. Only a small number of seeds still had a weak vitality. His main purpose in coming to the Dragon Palace was to find the seeds of the soul-intoxicating grass and the golden body fruit. As for whether these seeds had such things, he did not know. He removed the restrictions on the jade bottles and planted these seeds near the spiritual fire of life. Whether they could germinate or not would depend on their luck. After putting all the things in the stone room that could be taken away into the space of the spirit pearl, he turned his gaze to the spirit spring. This spirit spring had been here for tens of thousands of years. Maybe it had nurtured something good. It would be a pity if he did not go down and plunder it. Chapter 1035. Wang Daoyuan transformed into a dragon and entered the spring. The amount of water in the spring was not much, so it did not pose much of an obstacle. It was just that the waterway below the spring was narrow. Wang Daoyuan shrank his dragon body to a length of more than a foot and drilled down along the cracks in the rocks. After diving down for more than a mile, the waterway became spacious again. On the surrounding rock walls, there were sporadic dragon scales scattered. These dragon scales did not come from the same dragon species, and their colors and shapes were all different. Although their grades had fallen to the upper fourth grade, but looking at the material, the previous grade was definitely not low. In the style of doing things, Wang Daoyuan took these dragon scales into the space of the spiritual pearl. With the nourishment of high-grade spiritual power, the grade of these dragon scales would be greatly improved in the future. Even if they could not be restored to their previous grade, they could at least be used as materials of the fifth grade. As he gradually went deeper, there were more and more dragon scales around him, and their shape was more and more similar to that of a real dragon. It could be seen that the owner of these dragon scales had a higher concentration of dragon blood. After diving for more than 10 miles, he finally came to the deepest part of the spring. This was a semicircular space with a radius of 40 to 50 feet, and in the center was a water ball with a diameter of more than a foot. Below the water ball, there was a place with spatial law fluctuations, and spiritual power was constantly seeping out from it. This was also the basic characteristic of the core of the secret territory, that it could be connected to the outside world. The water ball absorbed the spiritual power seeping out, and turned it into spring water. In addition to the rich spiritual power in the spring water, dragon chi was constantly gushing out. And the concentration of dragon chi was not low, and was not weaker than the jade dragon spring on the jade spring peak. According to the words of the myriad spirits' ancestor, the jade dragon spring had a peak 7th grade spirit spring, and there was a jade dragon living there. In terms of the concentration of dragon chi, in the whole of Beiyuan Xiuxian, it could be ranked number 1. Even if the grade of the spirit spring dropped to the 4th grade, it would often nurture dragon species. The dragon chi here was comparable to that of the jade dragon spring, and was also an excellent place to raise dragons. If he could raise some aquatic spirit beasts with dragon bloodline in the lake outside, he might be able to cultivate many dragon species. This water ball was translucent, and looking at it with the naked eye, there seemed to be something inside, but it could not be seen clearly. His divine sense was blocked by the water ball. This water ball was really asking for trouble. How could a soul formation stage cultivator not be able to deal with the core of a 5th-tier low-grade mystic realm? The dragon claw instantly enlarged and reached into the water ball, grabbing the thing inside. Although the water ball had an extremely strong resistance, it was not worth mentioning in front of Wang Daoyuan. There were 2 things in the water ball. One was a golden scale with extremely complicated patterns on it. With Wang Daoyuan's knowledge, he could roughly tell that it was a heavenly Dao inscription pattern, and there was also some information about the water controlling divine ability. However, the level of the heaven Dao inscriptions was too high, and Wang Daoyuan was unable to comprehend too much. Without a doubt, this was the dragon's reverse scale. Although it was only a 5th grade low-grade one, judging from its material, it was at least a 6th grade dragon. The other item was an oval stone ball. It wasn't big, only about 5 inches long. Its surface was pitch black, and there weren't any patterns on it. The spiritual energy fluctuation of this stone ball was at the 5th grade low-grade level, and it was still absorbing the dragon chi and spiritual energy in the spring water. To be able to absorb spiritual energy and be placed together with the dragon's reverse scale, it must have something to do with the dragon race. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to probe, but he couldn't penetrate it at all. He drew out a wisp of dust returning flame to burn the stone ball, but complicated heavenly Dao patterns appeared on the black shell. The dust returning flame couldn't break through the heavenly Dao patterns. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly put away the dust returning flame. This heavenly Dao inscription pattern was much stronger than the one on the reverse scale. And it was even more complicated, so he couldn't see any clues. This stone ball was definitely not ordinary. It was very likely to be some kind of treasure, so it couldn't be damaged. It was just that he was too inexperienced and couldn't see what it was for the time being. He had to go back and ask the myriad spirits patriarch. On the ground of this semicircular space, there were also many dragon scales scattered. Wang Daoyuan put away all these things, leaving only the water ball in the entire space. This water ball was the core of the mystic realm, so Wang Daoyuan naturally wouldn't touch it easily. The value of this mystic realm was still very high. It had a radius of a few hundred miles, a large area of flat land, and an abundant water source. It wouldn't be difficult to house hundreds of thousands or even millions of people. The Wang family couldn't stay on land forever. They still had to expand into the sea. There was a level 5 spirit spring in the mystic realm, and there was a branch of the heaven/mountain range outside the mystic realm. It could be a very good stronghold. Moreover, this place wasn't far from the heaven/mountain range. There were many small coastal plains along the coast of the heaven/mountain range. The large ones were hundreds of miles in radius, while the small ones were dozens of miles in radius. Close to the heaven/mountain range, the spiritual energy was abundant, and it wouldn't be a problem to build a market. Now that the demon race had been pacified, there would be a large number of itinerant cultivators settling here sooner or later. This small island would also become a prosperous place in the future, and some clansmen could be moved here in the future. After collecting everything that should be collected, Wang Daoyuan also left the spring and returned to the palace complex. He plundered a few more palaces that were protected by restrictions, but unfortunately, he didn't get anything good. It was just some refining materials of average value. As for elixirs, spirit herbs, and the like, they had all decayed and were useless. After collecting everything, Wang Daoyuan also left the mystic realm. The dragon palace in the mystic realm was called the Pan Shan Lake Dragon Palace. He didn't know whether the lake in the mystic realm was called Pan Shan Lake or the small lake on the island outside the mystic realm was called Pan Shan Lake. In addition, there was a lot of dragon chi in the mystic realm, so he might as well call it Pan Long Island. Riding on Lei Peng's flying boat, he circled around a few times and found that there were quite a few small islands nearby. The great demon kings of Beiyuan Xiaofan had been dealt with, and the balance of power between the demon race and the human race had been broken. In the future, as long as there weren't any major changes on the human side, the demon race wouldn't be able to make a comeback. As the spirit chi in Beiyuan gradually recovered, the human race's advantage would become greater and greater. When the number of itinerant cultivators exceeded the capacity of the inland, a large number of itinerant cultivators would go to the coast to make a living. The best choice for itinerant cultivators to make a living was to hunt demon beasts. In the future, the number of demons would only continue to decrease, and there wouldn't be a large-scale beast tide in the future. There was no need to worry about the threat of the demon race in the sea near Pan Long Island. The nearby islands and the scattered plains along the coast could completely set up a county here. Of course, the remaining demons had yet to be wiped out. If they were in a hurry to settle down here, they would instead spend a lot of resources to guard against the demons. The gains did not make up for the losses. It wouldn't be too late to set up a county after a large number of itinerant cultivators settled down east of the heavenly/mountain range. After scouting the surroundings, Wang Daoyuan steered Lei Peng's flying boat back. A day later, he arrived above Linhai Prefecture. Over the past few days, the news that Wang Daoyuan had dealt with all the great demon kings in Beiyuan Xiaofan and killed a stage 6 dragon turtle had already spread. Now, there were already some itinerant cultivators coming and going in Linhai Prefecture. Although it wasn't as grand as it was in the early years, there was already some vitality. After all, it had only been a few days, so it was normal for there to be few people. As the Wang family members continued to migrate over, this place would become more and more lively. Wang Daoyuan didn't stop here. He steered the flying boat into the 10,000 Rivers Valley. There were many flying boats coming and going in the valley. There were itinerant cultivators and Wang family members on the flying boats. Wang Daoyuan didn't disturb them and flew straight to Qingli City. When he arrived at the imperial study, Wang Mingchen hurriedly bowed. Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book. There's no need to be so polite. This time, I went to the place where the stage 6 dragon turtle slept according to its memories. There's a mystic realm with a radius of more than 600 kilometers. More than half of the land can be turned into spirit fields. There's also a saltwater lake in the mystic realm. At the bottom of the lake, there's a coiling mountain lake dragon palace. It should have been built by a true dragon. I found some good things there. There are also some heavenly Tao inscriptions in the dragon palace. It's better to keep them and use them to study in the future. This beast skin book also records the situation around Coiling Dragon Island. In the future, we can set up a county there to manage it. Wang Mingchen took the beast skin book and cupped his hands. Father, don't worry. I'll send someone to check it out soon. Before he finished speaking, Patriarch Myriad Spirits flew out. I heard you mention the Coiling Mountain Lake Dragon Palace. Wang Daoyuan nodded. That's right. What's wrong? Patriarch Myriad Spirit's face was full of anger. Back then, the Stage 7 evil dragon that destroyed my Valley of Beasts called himself the Coiling Mountain Lake Dragon Monarch. The Valley of Beasts forces are mainly in the north of Beiyuan Xiaofan. The further south you go, the weaker your forces are. I've never heard of the Coiling Mountain Lake Dragon Palace before. The Coiling Mountain Lake Dragon Palace is in the Mystic Realm. Outside the Mystic Realm is only a small island. There's nothing conspicuous about it. If I hadn't checked the dragon turtle's memories, I wouldn't have been able to find it. Oh right, I also found many dragon scales and reverse scales in the Dragon Palace. There's also a strange stone. I don't recognize that stone either. You can help me identify it. After saying that, he took out the reverse scale and the strange stone. Patriarch Myriad Spirits mobilized his spiritual energy and held up the reverse scale. He carefully observed it for a long time. The anger on his face grew more and more intense. This reverse scale does indeed belong to that evil beast. Back then, he led a large group of demon beasts to attack my Valley of Beasts. In order to protect the sect master and the elders from activating their ancestral artifacts to kill the evil dragon, I fought with him for a long time. Even if he turned into ashes, I would still recognize him. This evil beast was the main culprit behind the destruction of the Valley of Beasts. The sect master and the elders exhausted their life force and activated their artifacts with all their strength before barely killing him. However, his corpse was taken away by the demon beasts. I was heavily injured and in a deep sleep. The Valley of Beasts was almost razed to the ground by the remaining demon beasts. I don't know what happened after that. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was very excited. Back then, the evil dragon was Stage 7. No matter how it broke through, it was still a true divine beast. Even if there wasn't much essence left in the reverse scale of a true dragon, the heavenly Tao patterns on it were extremely valuable. The Valley of Beasts had a deep understanding of the Purple Mansion phenomenon and divine abilities. Among them, there was a secret technique that used the reverse scale of a dragon to comprehend divine abilities. Wang Daoyuan saw traces of the water-controlling divine ability on this reverse scale. If this item was given to a cultivator who possessed the water-controlling divine ability, it would be of great help in improving their divine ability. Moreover, the dragon race's divine ability wasn't limited to water-controlling. If he could fully understand it, it might be of great help in developing Yinglong's strength. Although it was only a 5th-grade low-grade material, its foundation was still a 7th-grade material. If it was placed in the space of the Spirit Pearl, it would have a chance to recover to Stage 7 in the future. I really didn't expect to obtain such a good item. Unfortunately, the Dragon Palace doesn't have the evil dragon's horn or pearl. If I could find the true dragon's pearl, I would have made a fortune. You should be content. It's not bad to be able to obtain the scale of a stage 7 true dragon. This stone is also quite extraordinary. Moreover, I find it somewhat familiar. I should have seen something similar many years ago. It's most likely related to the dragon race. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Previously, I used the dust-returning flame to burn it. An extremely complicated heavenly Dao inscription appeared on the surface of this item. These inscription patterns are similar to the ones on the evil dragon's reverse scale, but much more complicated. Patriarch Myriad Spirits hurriedly said, "Try burning it with the dust-returning flame again." I still recognize quite a few heavenly Dao inscription patterns. Perhaps you can tell what this item is from the inscription patterns. Wang Daoyuan once again drew out a wisp of dust-returning flame and surrounded the stone ball. As expected, heavenly Dao inscription patterns appeared on the stone ball, blocking the dust-returning flame outside. Chapter 1036. This time, Wang Daoyuan held back some of his power, so his firepower was not much. The heavenly Dao inscriptions on the stone ball were not obvious, and they were not even completely visible. Patriarch Myriad Spirit glanced at it. "This thing is extraordinary. Don't worry, you can use the dust-returning flame. It won't be destroyed." Wang Daoyuan increased the input of spiritual power, and the dust-returning flame shone brightly. The heavenly Dao inscriptions on the stone ball instantly lit up. Patriarch Myriad Spirit stared at the inscriptions as if he was carefully identifying the contents. He had once reached the peak of the 7th rank, so it was naturally not a problem for him to identify the heavenly Dao inscriptions. After 100 breaths, Patriarch Myriad Spirit revealed a look of surprise. "Quickly put away the dust-returning flame. You almost damaged the treasure." Wang Daoyuan hurriedly put away the dust-returning flame and asked, "What is this?" Patriarch Myriad Spirits said with a smile, "You are really lucky. This is a dragon egg. This dragon egg should be quite old. In order to protect itself, the surface of the eggshell has turned into something similar to stone. Only when it is threatened will the heavenly Dao inscriptions appear. The various divine abilities of the divine beast bloodline will appear on the eggshell. From the heavenly Dao inscriptions on the eggshell, this is a water attribute dragon. The complexity of the inscriptions is no different from that of a true dragon. In such a situation, it is either a purebred true dragon, or at least one of its parents is a true dragon. The hatched thing has to be at least a half-divine beast. Moreover, it is a half-divine beast with a half-divine beast bloodline. Its potential is much stronger than the jade-scaled flood dragon. If it is nurtured well, it will not be a problem for it to pass the dragon transformation heavenly tribulation and become a true dragon. As for whether it is a true dragon egg or an egg left behind by some dragon, I can't be sure. After all, it is too old and its vitality is restrained. It is difficult to judge. I can't say if it can be hatched. This surprised Wang Daoyuan. Of the spirit beasts he raised, apart from the red-winged crow that could be considered a half-divine beast, the others were not. Wang Minglong was transformed from a dragonfish, and its bloodline was considered low among the dragon species. Generally speaking, such a dragon species had no future. However, he could often come into contact with pure dragon aura, and the true dragon bloodline in his body would slowly improve. It was not impossible for him to transform into a true dragon in the future. Yunyi's foundation was even worse than Wang Minglong's. Unless they ate the blood essence of white tiger-type demonic beasts every day, their prospects were not as good as Wang Minglong's. Even semi-divine beasts had different levels, just like the jade-scale flood dragon he had encountered before. Although they were famous semi-divine beasts, the dragon blood in their bodies had been passed down for countless generations. It was very difficult to continue improving one's bloodline. At least one of the parents of this dragon egg was a true dragon. The dragon blood in his body was directly inherited from a true dragon, so it would be easier for him to increase the density of his bloodline in the future. Wang Daoyuan laughed and said, "As long as I'm still alive, there will always be a way. I have the spiritual fire of life, which can strengthen his life force." The possibility of hatching it was still very high. "I'll go to the secret chamber to nurture this thing and see if I can awaken its life force." After saying that, he went to the underground secret room of the Imperial Study. Then, he drew out a wisp of his life spirit flame and wrapped it around the dragon egg. The life spirit fire released a large amount of life force. After a few breaths, the dragon egg began to devour this life force. As time passed, the speed of devouring became faster and faster. An hour later, he could feel the life force fluctuations in the dragon egg. Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. There was a chance. As long as the life force fluctuations were emitted, it meant that the little dragon in the egg had awakened. He continued to inject life force. After more than 2 hours, the dragon egg no longer absorbed life force. The life force fluctuations in the egg also stopped increasing, as if it was full. This was normal. Even a divine beast could not devour energy without limit. Moreover, this was just a dragon egg that had been sleeping for who knows how many years. Hatching it was definitely not something that could be done in a day. Wang Daoyuan kept it in the space of the spiritual pearl. His primordial spirit also entered the space and placed the dragon egg north of the spiritual fire of life. He wanted to let it absorb more life force, but he did not expect this dragon egg to absorb water spiritual energy so fiercely. This was normal. It was originally a water-type dragon. It had been in an environment lacking spiritual energy for tens of thousands of years. Its spiritual energy was seriously insufficient and needed to absorb some. Wang Daoyuan placed it in the Xuanwu Lake in the north of the spiritual pearl. North of the Xuanwu Lake was the immeasurable primordial water. This water was extremely pure and had rich spiritual energy. It should be more suitable for the dragon egg. The Xuanwu Lake was now divided into 2 halves. The southern half of the lake was black and contained rich yin energy. The northern half of the lake was crystal clear and did not have any yin energy. He was about to place the dragon egg beside the immeasurable primordial water when he suddenly found a water spiritual vein at the bottom of the lake. This water spiritual vein was only a mid-grade stage 1 and was only 3 feet long. However, it was a real spiritual vein. He used his divine sense to investigate and found that the spiritual energy surging from the spiritual vein was also extremely pure and similar to the immeasurable primordial water. Spiritual water and spiritual fire were similar. They were both considered miniature spiritual veins. It was easy to form spiritual veins where they were. Previously, the 5 spiritual fires formed the 5-element spiritual vein. Now that he had the immeasurable primordial water, it was not strange for it to form a spiritual vein. However, Wang Daoyuan was a little worried. The immeasurable primordial water's specialty was that it could produce an unlimited amount of spiritual spring water. Therefore, he did not dare to place the immeasurable primordial water near the water spiritual vein. Now that he had produced a water spiritual vein, it would grow rapidly in the future. With the support of the water spiritual vein, the immeasurable primordial water would produce a large amount of water. The space of the spirit pearl was less than 500 acres now. Although the space was constantly expanding, the speed was not too fast. Previously, it was more than enough to deal with the spring water of the Gui water nether spring. Now, with the addition of the lake water produced by the immeasurable primordial water, it might not be able to handle it. However, Wang Daoyuan did not plan to take any action now. After all, the entire space of the spirit pearl contained all 5 elements. The water spiritual energy and matter would slowly transform into other elements. With the restriction of other spiritual fires, there should not be too big of a problem. He also planned to wait and see. If there was too much water and it flooded the spiritual field, it would not be too late to transfer the immeasurable primordial water out. He told his doppelganger to pay more attention to the situation of the Xuanwu Lake and did not plan to care about the immeasurable primordial water. At this moment, a violent spiritual energy fluctuation came from the lava lake beside the red sun primordial fire in the south of the spirit pearl. Wang Daoyuan looked over. It turned out that the subdued spirited flame had broken through to the 6th level. The spiritual energy fluctuation gradually subsided and finally stabilized at the level of the lower 6th level. A 3-meter-tall flaming man jumped out of the lava lake and bowed in front of Wang Daoyuan's primordial spirit. "Master, I have broken through to the 6th level." Wang Daoyuan nodded with satisfaction. He had another soul formation cultivator under his command. As long as he stayed in the lava, his strength would surpass most soul formation cultivators. Moreover, this guy was very difficult to kill. "It's good that you have broken through. Continue to cultivate in the lava lake. When I need you, I will call you out." Spirited Flame shook his head. "Master, there is something I do not understand. According to the Xian, spirits of nature and weapon spirits have enough spirituality. Therefore, when they break through to the next level, there will be a heavenly tribulation. However, because we are not complete living beings, the heavenly tribulation is weaker. I also felt that I was locked in by a terrifying force, as if I would be severely injured at any time. However, this force did not come for a long time. It was as if something was blocking it." The Xian also flew out of the cauldron and cupped his hands toward Wang Daoyuan. "Master, there is indeed something strange about this mystic realm of yours. I didn't pay much attention to it before, but after hearing what Spirited Flame said, there is indeed something wrong. The star-patterned sea cucumbers and crimson blood corals that you are raising are also considered demonic beasts. No matter what, they are complete living beings. When they break through to the next level, they will definitely attract a heavenly tribulation. After so many years, many star-patterned sea cucumbers have broken through to the 5th level. There are also a few 5th-level crimson blood corals, but no heavenly tribulation has come." Now that he mentioned it, it was true. As the space in the spirit orb grew larger, so did the seawall where the sea cucumbers and corals were raised. So far, there were more than 300 sea cucumbers in the seawall, and 60 to 70 of them were of the 4th level or higher. There were also 60 to 70 crimson blood corals, and more than 20 of them were of the 4th level or higher. These sea cucumbers and corals had all grown slowly, but they had never attracted a heavenly tribulation. Wang Daoyuan didn't pay much attention to it before, but now that he was reminded, he realized something strange. But that's not right. Even the 7-star mystic realm, which has a radius of 100,000 miles and a 6th-level high-grade spirit vein, can't block a heavenly tribulation. The space in the spirit orb is far inferior in both size and quality, but it can block a heavenly tribulation. Xian also found it strange. "Your portable mystic realm is indeed extraordinary. Ever since I gained sentience, I have spent most of my time in the mystic realm. In terms of understanding of the mystic realm, I'm afraid no one can compare to me. In the 7-star mystic realm, with my strength, I can completely sense the aura of the outside world. The mystic realm is connected to the outside world. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to exist stably. However, I don't feel that your mystic realm is connected to the outside world. I can't sense the aura of the outside world at all. This mystic realm also has the effect of isolating the nomological laws of the outside world. The nomological laws here are different from those of the outside world. Instead, they are similar to the nomological laws in your divine ability domain. It wasn't obvious before you broke through to the soul formation stage, but after you broke through, the nomological laws in the mystic realm are obviously different from those of the outside world. In the future, as your cultivation continues to improve, the difference between the mystic realm and the outside world may become greater and greater. The mystic realm is a subsidiary of the outside world. All the nomological laws in it are exactly the same as those in the outside world. However, the nomological laws in your portable mystic realm are different from those of the outside world. I don't know much, so I don't know what's going on. You used to have a 7th level magic artifact. You should be able to sense the heavenly Tao. The nomological laws are the projections of the heavenly Tao. The nomological laws in the mystic realm are different from those of the outside world. You can see if the heavenly Tao is the same. Xian shook his head. When I was at my peak, I was only a 7th level magic artifact. I was still inferior to the magic artifacts of the Almighty. Now that I have fallen to the 6th level, I no longer have the ability to sense the heavenly Tao. Brother Myriad Spirit is very knowledgeable. Why don't you ask him? Wang Daoyuan knew very well that it would be useless to ask Patriarch Myriad Spirit about this. The spirit orb's background was indeed unusual. However, apart from the different flow of time, there were no other abnormalities. It was not particularly rare for the flow of time to be different. In the Secrets of the Valley of Beasts, it was also mentioned that there was an Earth Immortal who could control time. This Earth Immortal was proficient in the art of refining. He once tried to use the mystic realm to refine a spatial magic artifact. He wanted to make the flow of time inside and outside the mystic realm different. Whether or not he succeeded in the end was not mentioned in detail. However, at least it meant that the flow of time inside and outside the mystic realm was different. Wang Daoyuan had always thought that the mystic realm of the spirit orb was just an abnormal mystic realm with the nomological laws of time. Now it seemed that the mystic realm of the spirit orb was not that simple. As for what it would become in the future, it was still hard to say. Master, if you can't figure it out, then don't think about it. Let me go out to go through the tribulation first. The spirit clan's tribulation is not dangerous. They will only suffer some injuries and will be fine after some rest. In the future, I will go out to fight for you. The heavenly Tao wants to send a thunder tribulation to strike me, but it is stopped by your mystic realm. If the heavenly tribulation comes when I go out to fight for you, then it will be troublesome. Chapter 1037. At this moment, Yunyi's big furry head stretched over. Master, although I don't understand what you're talking about, I can't understand it. But I seem to have heard you say that staying in this mystic realm means that you don't have to undergo heavenly tribulation. Is that true? Wang Daoyuan's Yuanshan pulled one of his ears and said, "You are the descendant of the soul-devouring dark tiger. Can't you be more capable?" Thinking about cultivating into a divine beast, he could go wherever he wanted and eat whatever he wanted. Wasn't that good? At that time, no one will be able to stop you no matter where you go. Yunyi was also a little tempted. How many heavenly tribulations do you need to transcend? You need 3 more times. Yunyi shook her head repeatedly. No, I almost lost my life during the first 2 tribulations. I still have to do it a 3rd time. This unambitious fat cat gave Wang Daoyuan a headache. Back then, when he was traveling in Shanbei, he had no time to take care of him. The clansmen didn't dare to control him and let him go around eating and drinking, which resulted in his lazy personality. Xian, flame spirit, take care of Yunyi when you're free. If you're not cultivating, stay by the fire. Xian smirked. Don't worry, master. We have a good relationship with Yunyi. We often help her expel the cold. Yunyi looked like he had nothing left to live for. Just as he was about to retort, Wang Daoyuan threw him back into Xuanwu Lake. Spirited flame, you'll have to go out and fight for me often in the future. Naturally, you can't miss the heavenly tribulation. As for the sea cucumbers, corals, and the like, they were food and refining materials in the first place, so it was better if they didn't suffer the heavenly tribulation. I'll let you out after I find a suitable place to transcend the tribulation. Then, his primordial spirit left the space of the spiritual pearl and returned to his physical body. Xian Xian smiled and said, Yanling, now you know I didn't lie to you, right? Not even Earth immortals could stop the heavenly tribulation. Moreover, he was only at the early stage of the divine transformation realm. Once he became an Earth immortal, he would have a bright future in this mystic realm. If we follow him, becoming a true astral will be a simple matter. After Wang Daoyuan's primordial spirit returned to his body, he immediately left the secret technique and went to the imperial study. Patriarch Myriad Spirits was somewhat surprised to see him. Why are you out so quickly? There's a lava spirit I subdued in the Sea of 7 Stars that wants to break through to the 6th stage. I need to find a suitable place for it to transcend its tribulation. Patriarch Myriad Spirit had an envious look on his face. He was still only at the low-grade Tier 5. Furthermore, it was much easier for nature spirits to become astrals than artifact spirits. Rank 6 Lava Spirit? This was a great helper. If he stayed at the mouth of the volcano, he would be able to fend off cultivators of the soul formation intermediate stage with ease. The upper limit of a natural spirit's growth was extremely high. As long as he stayed in a place with sufficient spiritual energy, he would have a chance to become an astral. It's very difficult for us artifact spirits to transform into the spirit race without a great opportunity. However, the spirits of nature were not true living beings. The heavenly tribulation of breaking through to the 6th stage was probably not much stronger than the Yuanying heavenly tribulation of the human race. Just find a place with no one around. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, this can't be done casually. When we crippled the demons, not many people saw it with their own eyes. The flame spirit's tribulation this time is a good chance to show our strength so that those half-demons won't dare to be disloyal. Moreover, if we show enough strength, the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce will be able to recruit more people. With that, he left the imperial study and took Lei Peng's flying boat to the northwest. The place with many half-demons and itinerant cultivators was the Fallen Stars County. It was a place where half-demons gathered, and the governor was the leader of the Green Dragon tribe in the north of the mountain. He was the only Yuanying half-demon in the north of the mountain, so it was natural for him to be the governor. The Fallen Stars Oasis was the largest oasis in the entire north of the mountain. In addition, half-demons had a myriad of cultivation arts. Therefore, there were many itinerant cultivators doing business here. In addition, half-demons wanted to integrate into the human race, so they often recruited human itinerant cultivators. There were still many itinerant cultivators who didn't want to work hard and wanted to live off women. Therefore, there were hundreds of thousands of itinerant cultivators in the Fallen Stars Oasis. It was as lively as the oasis at its peak. Wang Daoyuan didn't hide his aura at all along the way. When he released the aura of a soul formation cultivator, the itinerant cultivators along the way were frightened. The flying boat soon arrived near the Fallen Stars Oasis. Wang Daoyuan landed more than 500 kilometers east of the Fallen Stars Oasis. He put away the Lei Peng's flying boat and took the flame spirit out of the space of the spirit pearl. As soon as the flame spirit came out of the space of the spirit pearl, he was locked down by a heavenly might. Soon, a dark cloud appeared in the sky. Although the heavenly tribulation of nature spirits wasn't as strong as that of the human race, there were still tribulation clouds. When the artifact spirits of the Linglong Pagoda and the Yin-Yang Compass woke up, there was only a bolt of lightning in the sky. There was no tribulation cloud. That was also because they had already been struck by lightning back then. When they recovered their ranks, the heavenly tribulation was just a formality. The flame spirit broke through to the 6th level, so the heavenly tribulation was still necessary. After the dark cloud appeared, it quickly expanded. It didn't stop until it had a radius of 500 kilometers. The tribulation cloud when Wang Daoyuan broke his core and formed his nascent soul was almost as big as this. The flame spirit had already broken through to the 6th level, so this power was naturally not a problem. The heavenly might enveloped the surroundings, and the fallen star's oasis could naturally sense it. An azure dragon shadow flew out of the fallen star's oasis, then turned into a human shape and stopped next to Wang Daoyuan. This person wore a long green robe with fish scales on it, and there were 2 green dragon horns on his head. He bowed to Wang Daoyuan. "Qing Yan, the governor of the Fallen Stars County, greets your majesty." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "Governor, there's no need to be so polite. I've subdued a spirit of lava outside. Now that I've broken through to the 6th level, I'm about to transcend the tribulation." Although the 6th level heavenly tribulation of nature spirits is far inferior to that of humans and half-demons, there are many similarities. Take a good look and gain some experience. When the spiritual energy of the mountain/range gradually recovers, you might have a chance to break through to the soul formation realm. Qing Yan cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty." At this moment, many itinerant cultivators flew out of the fallen star's oasis to watch the show. They didn't dare to get close. They just watched from 1,000 kilometers away. After the tribulation cloud took shape, the heavenly tribulation soon arrived. A black lightning bolt fell from the sky. The flames on the flame spirit's body surged, forming a fiery red shield. This guy had learned a lot from the Xian in the spiritual orb. He no longer relied on brute force to fight enemies like before. The lightning bolt fell, penetrated the shield, and left a wound on his body. The flame spirit was born from lava, so he didn't have a real body. It didn't matter if his shell was damaged. As long as his core, the spiritual pivot, wasn't seriously damaged, he would be alive and kicking as soon as he was thrown into the lava. The second heavenly tribulation soon arrived. The flame spirit didn't condense a shield again. Instead, he condensed a long spear with flames. This long spear was more than 6 meters long and was entirely red. Coupled with his 3-meter-tall body, it looked quite impressive. When the black lightning bolt fell, he shook the long spear and a large sea of flames flew out. It took a few breaths of time to completely offset this tribulation lightning. The heavenly tribulation of nature spirits and weapon spirits didn't have a fixed pattern because they were all strange to begin with. Their background, potential, and strength were all different. The gap between nature spirits was even greater than the gap between humans and demons. The type of heavenly tribulation that descended had a lot to do with their background and potential. Moreover, after the heavenly tribulation, there was no gift from heaven and earth. Whether they died or not depended on their own ability. The spirit race wasn't a complete creature, so there was no need to worry about recovery. Just like the flame spirit, as long as there was a trace of spirituality left, he could slowly recover if he was placed in the lava. Of course, transcending the tribulation wasn't completely without benefits. Every tribulation was harmful to the spirit race, but it was also helpful. The lightning tribulation contained energy that was beneficial to the spirit race's cultivation. As long as they could resolve the lightning, they would gain a lot of benefits. The flame spirit was strong enough, so these lightning tribulations only caused him some damage. After 5 lightning tribulations, the tribulation cloud in the sky completely dissipated. In the ancient books of the Valley of Beasts, there were records of a level 6 nature spirit that had endured more than 10 lightning tribulations. The flame spirit's talent was really ordinary. The flame spirit sat down and meditated, looking a little dispirited. After a while, his body began to change. His lava shell began to change, finally turning into a young, red-faced man. The flame spirit looked at his appearance and was overjoyed. "Master, I'm one step closer to becoming a true spirit race." If the myriad spirits patriarch and the other artifact spirits saw this scene, they would definitely be envious. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Cultivate well." With that, he waved his hand and put the flame spirit into the space of the spirit pearl. Green Rock hurriedly cupped his hands and said, "Your Majesty, I've already ordered people to prepare a banquet. Please come." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "There's no need to go to the expense. I was cultivating when the flame spirit suddenly broke through. It's hard to say how powerful the spirit race's tribulation is, so I came to this desert. Now that the flame spirit's tribulation is over, should return. The Starfall Plain is so prosperous. The governor has really governed it well." Green Rock was overjoyed to receive Wang Daoyuan's praise. "Your Majesty is too kind. This is just my duty. You have done well in governing the Starfall County. The Imperial Court will reward you." With that, he steered the Leipeng flying boat and flew at full speed toward Clear Glass City. The Thunder Rock flying ship's speed left Qing Yen dumbstruck. The half-demon's inheritance was inferior to that of humans and beasts. Especially in the area of artifact forging, it was not just a little bit inferior. He could only see that the Leipeng flying boat was a high-grade 5th-grade artifact, but he could not understand how it could be so fast. After returning to the Imperial study in Clear Glass City, it was Wang Daochang's turn to deal with official business. "There's news from the Starfall Plain. You frightened the half-demons. A 6th-grade spirit race cultivator's tribulation is too shocking for them." Wang Daoyuan laughed. "This is also a warning to the half-demons. Now that the spirit race is crippled, they still have to rely on the half-demons to occupy the Arctic icy plains. With more space, it's inevitable that they will have other thoughts. It's better to intimidate them in advance so that they won't raise a new spirit race in the future. The way to control people is to use both kindness and severity. I've already intimidated them, so it's time to give them some favors. I have some nascent nurturing pills here, so I'll reward them with 20. The Imperial Court will also give them some artifacts so that the half-demons won't have other thoughts." With that, he took out 2 jade bottles and gave them to Wang Daochang. "Okay, leave this to me. You're now a late-stage golden core cultivator, so you should prepare to break your core and form your nascent soul. I don't lack spirit items that can assist in forming your nascent soul. With one more yuanying, the family will be more stable. I've been back for a while and have been running around outside. It's time to see the 2 little fellows." With that, he left the imperial study and came to Changle Palace. This was a palace specially built for him and Zhou Wan. When he walked into Changle Palace, he heard Zhou Wan complaining. "After dealing with the demon beasts, you're running around. You don't even have time to see the 2 children." Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian also ran out of Changle Palace. Wang Mingren knew the rules and bowed in front of Wang Daoyuan. Wang Mingxian threw herself into Wang Daoyuan's arms. "Father, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. I miss you so much." Zhou Wan snorted. "Have you forgotten the etiquette I taught you before? You're such a big girl, but you don't have any manners at all. If your father hadn't left a few backup plans, the 2 of you would have been captured by the demon beasts. If the demons took the 2 of you as hostages, it would be difficult to deal with all the demon monarchs this time. At the very least, it would delay the future of the entire human race. If you continue to be stubborn and ignore the big picture, don't even think about traveling in the future." Chapter 1038. The 3 children weren't afraid of Wang Daoyuan. Instead, they were more afraid of Zhou Wan. Now that Zhou Wan was furious, Wang Mingxian was also shocked. She let go of Wang Daoyuan and stood with her head lowered, looking very aggrieved. Zhou continued, "Your father risked his life for our family to be where we are today. Back then, for a piece of yin-yang purple jade, he infiltrated the Blood Shadow branch with his Peak Foundation establishment cultivation. When he was in the middle stage of the Violet Palace realm, he infiltrated the southern wasteland's Blood Demon City alone for the Spirit Fire and stole it from under the noses of Golden Core demonic cultivators. When he was in the late stage of the Violet Palace realm, he stole the true demonic Blood Lotus from a group of demonic cultivators. When he broke through to the Yuanying realm overseas, he went to snatch spirit herbs from several powerful late-stage Yuanying cultivators. In terms of cultivation talent, your father isn't any worse than you. Why did he only reach the Violet Palace realm when he was more than 100 years old, but you did so when you were in your 30s? It's because you didn't have enough resources. The resources he used for his cultivation were all exchanged with his life. Without the resources he risked his life for, how could you be where you are today? You enjoyed such good resources, but not only did you not help, you even caused trouble. In order to deal with the demons, he started to secretly plan a few hundred years ago. This time, he set a trap for the demons, and it's time to completely eradicate them. For a few hundred years, he spent a lot of effort to get to where he is today. He paid such a big price, but you almost ruined it because of your temper. After being lectured, Wang Mingren had a guilty expression, while Wang Mingxian's face was already covered in tears. Wang Daoyuan patted Wang Mingxian's head. I relied on myself for cultivation resources. At that time, the family was in a precarious situation, so I had no choice. You didn't have so much pressure, so it's inevitable that you're immature. Your talents are excellent, and your future is bright. Don't put yourself in danger because of a little temper. In the future, if our Wang family wants to fight our way out of Beiyuan, we'll encounter stronger enemies. Father might not be able to protect himself, so he'll have to rely on you. If you still have a temper, you won't even have a chance to survive. Your mother is strict with you because she wants you to survive. Being talented and strong didn't mean that one was capable. The sixth son of the Zhao Emperor was also a rare genius, but the Zhao Empire had almost been destroyed in his hands. Don't follow in the footsteps of that idiot, squandering all his family's wealth and becoming a laughingstock. You guys have been out training for so many years. You should have gained a lot. Go to the Imperial study and cultivate. The two children nodded and left Chang'e Palace. Zhou Wan sighed. These two children are more talented than Ming Chen, but in terms of intelligence, they are far inferior to Ming Chen. The demon race was about to launch an all-out attack. Ming Chen had repeatedly ordered them to return, yet they still dared to wander outside for a few months. Did they really think that they could hide from the greater demon king with their meager abilities? The two of us are not at a disadvantage when it comes to scheming against those old fellows. Why are these two children so stupid? Wang Daoyuan advised, we were surrounded by danger in the past. If we took a wrong step, we might have lost our lives. If he wanted to survive, he had to be smart. When Ming Chen was young, the situation was not very stable. The demons in the north of the mountain were still very strong. He also had to do his best to maintain the stability of his family and the commandery. When the two of them were born, I was already the most powerful person in Beiyuan. The Yen Kingdom was also the most powerful human force. No matter how much trouble they caused, there was no danger. In the end, we were too good to the children. We did not let them feel any pressure. The disciples in the family who did not have high status were quite brave. Take second brother's grandson, Wang Dimeo, for example. He dared to open a shop in the demon race's nest for cultivation resources. If a family wants to continue to prosper, they need this kind of drive. It seems that we should be stricter to the children in the future. By the way, how are your preparations for the breakthrough? My state of mind is almost ready. Now, it has been ruined by these two troublesome children. Anyway, there is no danger now. Let's adjust for a while more. I will go meditate and calm my state of mind first. The biggest danger of Yuanying breaking through to the soul formation realm was the inner demon tribulation. As long as there was an inner demon, the chances of surviving the inner demon tribulation were very slim. Most peak-stage Yuanying cultivators had prepared the resources for the breakthrough, but they still had to spend decades or even centuries to improve their state of mind. If there was guilt or regret in their hearts, they had to do their best to make up for it. In the illusion, no matter how strong one was, it was useless. Whether or not one could survive this ordeal depended on one's state of mind. Although Wang Daoyuan had regrets in his heart, he did not dare to say that everything was a good thing. Even if he did something evil, he had a clear conscience. This was also the reason why many evil people could survive the inner demon tribulation. As long as they had a clear conscience, they would not have an inner demon. Zhou Wan could not be disturbed, so Wang Daoyuan planned to return to the Jade Spring Mountain and try to refine a 6th-grade magic weapon. He casually glanced around Chang'e Palace and found a black wolf tied up in a corner. This wolf was the one that ambushed Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian. It was injured by Blackie and was kept in the demon-subduing gourd by Wang Mingren. Now that its neck was tied up by a 5th-grade magic weapon rope, it could not use any of its strength. Wang Daoyuan looked at this wolf and felt an indescribable sense of familiarity. He came to the black wolf and looked at it carefully for a while. The black wolf was a little impatient. "What are you looking at? I don't want to live after falling into your hands. If you want revenge, come at me. It's my honor to die in the hands of the #1 powerhouse in Beiyuan like those great demon kings. I only hate that I didn't eat you 400 years ago and left such a big problem for the demon race." When it said this, Wang Daoyuan remembered a lot of things. This was the Black Cloud Wolf King that he had met when he was picking the dragon vine in the Qi refinement stage. Before he reached the foundation establishment stage, he had caused trouble for it many times. Later, when he went to look for the inheritance of the 5-element spiritual master, he met it again. After that, he had not seen it again for more than 400 years. There had been many chaos in the heaven/mountain range. He did not expect that this guy could survive until now and cultivate to the 4th level. You were courting death for the grudge back then. Why do you have to chase after me? I'll look for my spiritual herbs, and you'll be your wolf king. It'll be better if we don't interfere with each other. But you killed my son. That was because someone in the Green Willow district wanted to mess with me and used the main ingredient of the foundation establishment pill as bait. Your son should have been killed by the person who messed with me. It has nothing to do with me. The Wolf King still didn't believe him. Wang Daoyuan sneered. With my current strength, do I need to lie to you? You've already become my prisoner. What else is there for me to lie to? I've already killed all the great demon kings of your demon race. Why would I care about you? Hearing this, the Wolf King's eyes, which were shining with hatred, quickly dimmed. 400 years of hatred, so it's just a lie. Now that the demon race has no future, I've fallen into your hands. If you want to kill me, just do it. We can be considered old friends. Many of the people from back then are no longer here. It's not easy to meet an enemy from more than 400 years ago. Also, your talent isn't bad. You seem to have some Moonhull wolf bloodline. The Moonhull wolf is also a type of primordial beast. In terms of potential, it's stronger than some weaker divine beasts. I'll give you a chance to live. Serve me as your master, and I can spare your life. There are many primordial beasts in the West Sea. Kill them and use their essence blood to refine pills. It can help you awaken more Moonhull wolf bloodline. In the future, it's not impossible for you to cultivate to rank 7 and become a demon powerhouse. The Wolf King laughed. I hated you for 400 years, but in the end, I realized that I hated the wrong person. After being a king for hundreds of years, I really don't want to bow and scrape. Back then, when you made trouble for me, many of the wolf cubs in the wolf pack died. If I serve you as my master, I'll be letting them down. Since we're acquaintances, just give me a quick death. I only ask that you don't kill all my descendants. If possible, bury me in Black Cloud Mountain. All these years, I've either wandered around or joined other demon races. In the end, the place I miss the most is still Black Cloud Mountain. Don't worry, the human race also needs resources from the demon race. If all the demons die, the demon cores needed for foundation establishment and core formation will be gone. As for Black Cloud Mountain, I just happen to want to take a look. I'll take you there. With that, he untied the Wolf King's chains and rowed Lei Peng's flying boat to the southeast. In less than an hour, the flying boat arrived at Black Cloud Mountain in the southeast corner of Hundred Rivers Lake. There were no more traces of demon beasts here. After all, many Wang clansmen lived here. For the safety of their clansmen, they couldn't let any more demon beasts appear here. Wang Daoyuan put away the flying boat and stood at the top of Black Cloud Mountain with the Wolf King. The Wolf King raised its head and let out a long howl. After 100 breaths, it stopped. After going around in circles for hundreds of years, I didn't expect to return here. Let's do it. Wang Daoyuan sighed softly and patted its head. The Wolf King's life force was cut off and it fell to the ground. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand halfway up the mountain. A large pit immediately appeared on the flat ground and buried the Wolf King's body. An old opponent that he had always wanted to kill back then was finally taken down. Unfortunately, there was one less old friend. Just as he was about to leave, a golden sun flew over. He didn't need to look to know that it was the red-feathered crow. As his cultivation increased, the spirit energy and divine sense consumed by his divine ability became less and less. Now that he was under the sun, he could use it for a long time. This speed was no longer slower than the gray rock. When he had nothing to do, he would always bask in the sun, but his cultivation speed wasn't slow. Ever since he broke through to rank 5, he didn't enter the space of the spirit pearl much. In only the 70s or 80s, he had already broken through to mid-grade rank 5. According to the cultivation speed of the human race, it naturally wasn't fast. But according to the cultivation speed of the demon race, this was already very terrifying. Before dealing with those great demon kings, Wang Daoyuan had him patrol around. To prevent the demon race from wandering here and hurting the Wang family clansmen. Now, it just so happened that the red-feathered crow was patrolling here. The red-feathered crow stopped his divine ability and landed on Wang Daoyuan's shoulder. "Father, long time no see." Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "Not bad, your cultivation speed is fast enough. I found a rank 8 golden crow feather in the sunset abyss of the Qixing Sea Shuxian community. Although its grade has dropped to rank 6, it's still very useful to you." With that, he took out the golden crow feather. The red-feathered crow was stunned when he saw the golden crow feather. "Father, I feel a trace of golden crow blood essence in it. If I can refine it into my body, it will be extremely beneficial to my bloodline." Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to investigate and only found extremely rich pure yang energy. This yang energy blocked his divine sense, so he didn't know anything about the situation inside the feather. However, the red-feathered crow had a very rich golden crow bloodline in his body, so it was normal for him to be able to sense it. "I can't detect the situation inside. Since there's golden crow blood essence in it, you can refine it. Your talent is much better than Yunyi and the others. Grow up soon and fight with me." With that, he put the red-feathered crow into the space of the spirit pearl. He also instructed Spirited Flame, "This red-feathered crow is a spirit beast I raised since he was young. You haven't seen him before, so don't hurt him. Master, don't worry. I'm consolidating my cultivation and digesting the benefits brought by the heavenly tribulation. I don't have time to fight with him. Chapter 1039. After the red-feathered crow entered the space of the spirit pearl, it obediently stopped on the tallest blood-fire hibiscus tree. Now that there was a spirit of lava fighting with it for territory, it was naturally unhappy. However, its current strength was not enough to fight the spirit of lava. It could only swallow its anger and obediently refine the golden crow feather. He opened his mouth and sucked out a wisp of pure yang energy from the golden crow feather and began to slowly refine it. During the refining process, the spirit power on his body slowly increased. After all, it was left behind by a rank 8 golden crow. Even if its grade dropped, it was still extremely precious to him, who had a rank 5 golden crow bloodline. This golden crow feather contained a lot of pure yang energy. At his current speed, it would probably take him a few hundred years to refine it. Fortunately, with the space of the spirit pearl, it would only take a few years. Wang Daoyuan was relieved that Spirited Flame and the red-feathered crow were safe. His divine sense left the space of the spirit pearl and did not continue to stay here. He took the flying boat back to Jade Spring Peak and went to the underground cave to prepare to refine a rank 6 magic weapon. He did not have many rank 6 metal materials, but he still had a lot of demon beast materials. He had killed the rank 6 Kuei dragon in the Sea of 7 Stars and killed the dragon turtle in Linhai State not long ago. The Kuei dragon's body was more than 300 meters long, and the dragon turtle's shell was dozens of meters long. The scales, bones, and dragon horns on its body were all excellent refining materials. Any one of the dragon scales could be used to refine a rank 6 magic weapon. There were thousands of dragon scales that were more than 3 feet in diameter on these 2 dragon species, and each of them could be refined into a shield. There were tens of thousands of small dragon scales that were 2 to 3 inches in diameter. Together with the dragon turtle's shell, they could also be refined into a shield. If taken out individually and refined into a magic weapon, it would also be quite powerful. Their blood essence had also been refined and could be used to refine blood essence pills in the future. The Kuei dragon's blood essence pill was a little lacking. After all, the dragon blood in his body was very thin. Although the Kuei dragon looked like a dragon, it was not a member of the dragon race and did not have dragon blood. Wang Daoyuan didn't have any spirit beasts with the bloodline of the Kuei Long, so there wasn't much point in refining the blood essence pill. The dragon turtle's dragon blood was extremely pure. Although it still had the black tortoise bloodline, it had 4 claws and 5 fingers, so it should have more than half of the true dragon bloodline. The essence blood of the other flood dragons had already been refined into bloodline pills by the Avatar Devil Prison. If he gave some to Wang Xianlong and Wang Minglong in the future, it would be of great help to them in improving their bloodline. Also, Wang Dirun's dragon blood awakened natal spiritual beast could also be given some bloodline pills. Although his forging skills were already high enough for him to forge an upper-grade Tier 5 magic artifact, he was still able to forge it. However, before he officially started, he still needed to practice with Tier 5 materials. There were some differences between the refinement methods of 6th grade magic tools and 5th grade magic tools. The tool patterns were usually not on the surface of the magic tool, but inside the magic tool. These tool inscriptions were no longer carved out, but condensed using his divine sense and the power of law. Other than that, the tool pattern was also different from a level 5 tool pattern. Tool inscriptions ranged from level 1 to level 5, and they were all arranged using basic tool inscriptions. However, as the grade increased, the basic tool inscriptions became more complicated, and the consumption of divine sense increased. Although it was very complicated, as long as one had enough divine sense, it was not difficult. At level 6, many tool patterns and inscriptions of law would combine to form inscription patterns, which were called restrictions. Magic tools with multiple restrictions were distributed in different places, independent of each other, but also related to each other. Although a level 5 magic tool met the most basic requirements to give birth to an artifact spirit, it was very difficult and required a very long time to nurture. The restrictions in a level 6 magic tool seem to be closely related to the artifact spirit's law. Magic tools with restrictions could easily give birth to an artifact spirit. The difficulty of nurturing an artifact spirit was greatly reduced. Only magic tools with artifact spirits were qualified to be called spirit tools. There were very few spirit tools among level 5 magic tools. Most level 6 magic tools could give birth to artifact spirits, so all level 6 magic tools could be called spirit tools. As long as there was a complete restriction in the magic tool, it could be considered a level 6 magic tool. Of course, a newborn artifact spirit could not directly participate in a battle like Myriad Spirit's ancestor and Ling Long. At most, it could increase the power of the spirit tool by a little. Some could not even show their form and could only give the spirit tool some spirituality. Only those extraordinary spirit tools that had been nurtured for countless years could give birth to a highly intelligent artifact spirit. Because these restrictions were formed by many tool patterns and inscriptions of law, they contained many basic functions. Fortunately, the dragon scale was hard enough and was not damaged. Wang Daoyuan was not discouraged and continued to try to condense a restriction. It took more than half a year and nearly 100 failures before he finally condensed the first complete defensive restriction on this piece of dragon scale. Next, he needed to completely integrate the restriction and the refinement material. Wang Daoyuan drew out a wisp of Gui water death flame and began to calcine the dragon scale. Although it was a water attribute spiritual fire, as long as the spiritual power was strong enough, it could still melt the dragon scale. Under the calcination of the Gui water death flame, the restriction slowly merged with the dragon scale. After nearly a month of tossing and turning, the dragon scale and the restriction were completely integrated. Wang Daoyuan put away the Gui water death flame and the power of his divine sense. With a crack appeared on the surface of the dragon scale. This crack went deep into the dragon scale, and the entire restriction collapsed. This was because the grade of the mid-grade rank 5 dragon scale was too low to bear the restriction. If it were a rank 6 dragon scale, this would have been a success. With this successful experience, Wang Daoyuan took out a large dragon scale of a dragon turtle. He found several rank 5 upper rank water attribute refining materials that were known for their strength, smelted the essence with fire, and then integrated it into the dragon scale. Then he began to condense the restriction. This time, it was much faster. It only took 2 months to successfully condense the restriction. Then, he drew out a wisp of Gui water death flame to calcine the dragon scale. It was much more difficult to calcine the rank 6 dragon scale. It took more than 2 months to fuse the dragon scale and the restriction. At this step, the refining was basically completed. In order to prevent the shield from being too fragile, it still needed to be stored in the crafting furnace. Wang Daoyuan's primordial spirit took the shield into the spirit bead space and put it in the Xian cauldron, and then poured a lot of Gui water death flame into the cauldron. This year, he was busy refining, and did not pay much attention to the changes in the spirit bead space. This time he came in to see the progress of the scarlet feather. More than a year had passed outside, and more than 100 years had passed in the space. The scarlet feather was still refining the golden crow feather. After more than 100 years, the pure yang qi in the golden crow feather was only consumed less than a quarter. The scarlet feather's progress was very big, and now he was about to break through to the rank 5 upper rank. Looking at this, he did not need to refine all the yang qi in the golden crow feather to break through to the rank 6. However, it was best to suppress it, and wait until he refined all the yang qi, and then refine the golden crow blood essence hidden in the golden crow feather into his body. After that, he would cross the heavenly tribulation, and the effect of improving his bloodline would be much greater. Spirited Flame, who was in the lava lake, was still cultivating, and his cultivation had already stabilized. Wang Daoyuan did not disturb them, and checked the situation in the spirit bead space. What he saw shocked him. In this 1 year, the changes in the spirit bead space were too big. In just over a year, the spirit bead space, which was less than 500 mu, had increased to more than 700 mu. This was not because the spirit fields had increased by so much, but because there was an additional body of water. At the edge of the spirit bead space, there was an extremely pure lake. Obviously, this change was brought about by the immeasurable primordial water. At this time, Lake Xuanwu had already merged with the body of water at the edge of the space. At the place where the immeasurable primordial water was, there was a water spirit vein. The last time he saw it, it was only rank 1, but now this spirit vein had grown to rank 2 upper rank. With the nourishment of this spirit vein, the immeasurable primordial water's spirit spring water increased greatly, and Lake Xuanwu could not contain it. According to Wang Daoyuan's previous guess, either the entire spirit bead space was flooded with water, or the spirit fire dissolved the water. Previously, he had instructed his doppelganger to move the immeasurable primordial water away as soon as the spirit fields were flooded, and to a place where there was no water spirit vein. He did not expect a third situation to occur. The immeasurable primordial water had produced too much water, and it had expanded the spirit bead space. In just 1 year, it had increased by more than 200 mu. Wang Daoyuan felt that it was a little unbelievable, but after thinking about it, it made sense. Previously, the spirit bead space had slowly increased in size because of the 5 spirit fires. Spirit water and spirit fire were very similar. If spirit fire could increase the size of the spirit bead space, spirit water could naturally do the same. However, he did not expect the immeasurable primordial water to be so powerful. Now, it was only supported by a rank 2 upper rank spirit vein, and it could increase the size of the spirit bead space to such an extent. The growth of this spirit vein was not slow. In a few decades, it might even grow to rank 6. By then, the expansion of the spirit bead space would be extremely terrifying. In no time, the spirit bead space would become a vast mystic realm. And the body of water at the edge of the spirit bead space could become a lake in the future, or even a sea. Although the spirit fields did not increase by much, the increase in the body of water had great benefits. It could be used to breed aquatic spirit beasts and plants. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.